Hello, welcome to episode 5 of the Off the Top podcast.
Hi.
So we now have an actual video format. The original program that we had in mind was just not working. So I'm resorting to OBS and showing Discord, which I think it's actually kind of working so far. And then hopefully if this the other person that is going to show up, hopefully he can pull through. If not, we can always save it for the next episode. And then our fourth person, being Gavin, he has work today. So we're going to...
Yeah.
We will definitely try to plan that out a little more accordingly, but right now it's just the two of us.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. It's funny, right? Because we've had a couple of these now that have been the test runs. And now that we're here on Discord, which is what we've been using for our leisure and our casual play, it's just been a bit more. What was I saying? I was saying it's a bit more streamlined.
It's more user friendly, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really like. I really like how this program is, and honestly, I'm surprised I don't use Discord as much as I should.
It wasn't as accessible until I guess very, very recently. My God. Remember when they came out with the March 8th announcement, when supposedly that's when
PlayStation users are going to be able to use Discord and stuff like that.
It just, the fact that it'll actually be cross-platform. You know what I mean? It's exciting. So I want to get to know this format.
Yeah, I definitely want to use this program way more. Considering that I've always known about Discord, but it's just I never really heavily used it before. So
yeah, but it makes sense to have it, and it makes sense to use it now because it's something that I feel like we're talking in circles now, but I'm very glad that we're using it.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, honestly, it's this kind of has been the writing on the wall with this podcast. It's just why haven't we used Discord? It's honestly because I was just too lazy to use OBS, and then I've just been lately now starting to use it more. If anyone has kept up with my channel, there were just random test streams. I know one of them was really choppy as shit, and the audio was terrible. But honestly,
trial and error, right?
I mean, it was just it's trial and error. I was that's what I was telling myself. I was this is trial and error. I may as well know now before it blows up in my face. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's exciting. And there was actually, speaking of streaming, there was another thing that Mr. Trevor and I were discussing the last time we saw each other. That
ominous. Why do you have to word it like that?
Well, I mean,
so ominous.
It was an idea you had. You were you said you wanted to start streaming.
Oh, yes. Well, okay. I realized how big of a statement that actually was, since I realized I didn't have a starting point. But it also helps to know that I've been kind of treating these these podcasts and anytime that I have streamed with you as a test run of what to say when and how to keep the interest. And I haven't done it enough to actually gain any knowledge on to do on that technique, but it's good to get that experience, which is why I'm trying to get back online as fast as I can.
Yeah, especially with with some live things that we won't really try to mention as much, but just basically live things are happening. So
Mhm. But as far as for like streaming, I still love that idea, and I even know I'm kind of what the first couple games I want to stream are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I wanted and I'd like to do like themed stuff too. Like I kind of have this idea of what to do. I'm not really good at being organized a lot of the time,
You think
which
I
is why I
am?
guess it hasn't. Well, no, but you're getting better. I mean, you organized this whole thing. You've been kept in contact with us. You kept up tabs. You're making sure that people are in the know. Like you're doing your part on it. So you're showing real initiative when it comes to being organized. So
Exactly.
I'm noticing that, and so yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it's
I you do I have to like work around like a lot of like things just like outside of my control as well, because I know sometimes we all got like certain life situations that could just happen like at any second, dude. But I just gotta plan it out accordingly. Make some sacrifices that need to be made. But as far as trying to keep this podcast like going, it has been a little bit more tough lately, just because timing essentially, and
mm,
some people just not unfortunately being able to pull through. But it's not no fault against most of them, but it's just like just getting like a bunch of people in one spot is always like the toughest part.
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just to hang out, it's been like trying to schedule a whole event
Yeah,
because
it's
people
yeah because like
have
we
work. Some people don't. I don't have a car, so like it is a lot of extra stuff.
yeah, it is just tough like when we have like certain things that are happening, like shit, like even like for me, because like I'm trying to work as like much as possible, not only just because just to keep up financially, but also to eventually get upgrades on this whole setup, because I do want to get a new PC. I mean, this is doable, but I am going to make an upgrade at some point down the line. uh Hopefully making the YouTube channel an actual like outside of just the podcast, like actual doing content, and also upgrading my live streaming setup and all that. And who knows, maybe I'll
Mhm.
hopefully get like a better like recording setup going, because there is a bit of an echo right now. But it's just something I got to work with for now.
I just think you need to find proper soundproofing, and that might need to. I mean, I don't know, man. The way that your setup is configured, as I really like it, but for recording, you might need to find some ways to give yourself some backing. Like, I mean, for both of us, I think, because right, I mean, we can't see it now, obviously, but I'm like right in front of my bed, and
Yeah, same here.
there's the walls are bare, and we both have carpet, so I feel like if we just put some of that soundproofing on the walls in strategic places, and maybe if I mean, I don't know, like I feel like your setup is so nice. I wouldn't want to rearrange it, but I feel like
I
if
mean,
you
I can.
want that control, you know what I mean, of the audio with the soundproofing.
Yeah, and
If
I
you
mean,
notice a lot of
I can only do
sorry,
so
go for it.
much with this area right now. So it's like, it's if anything, it's just I'll just have to just deal with what I got right now, and then maybe just down the line I'll eventually have, I mean, like a place like for myself, and maybe I
Mhm.
can do as much modifications as I can. Turn that into not only my room, but also turn it into an actual like recording studio.
It would help to like know, or at least talk to somebody who knows about audio engineering so that they can look at your situation. Like if you show them like pictures of your setup, then they can be like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you might have be better if you put like soundproofing on the back wall, so that way when the sound bounces off the wall, it gets absorbed by a lot of that soundproofing.
Yeah, definitely.
It That actually might not be a bad idea, but I would talk to somebody who knows what they're saying, because who
Yeah,
knows if
yeah.
what I just said was true.
Yeah, I mean,
It's true.
I'm certain that's like essentially like what it would be. Or like even just like changing up like certain mics too. Like, because like I mean, I'm using a Blue Yeti like USB mic, which don't get me wrong, it's good for now, but eventually I do want to get an actual like podcasting mic. And then
Oh,
for
for
all I
sure.
know what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do with this Blue Yeti, I mean, I might just plug it into something else. Just figure that part
You
out.
could you could have it purely for audio, and if you I don't know, you could sell it. I don't know. A lot of people tend to keep their mics, as far as I know, for people who have mics. But that's only because it was so expensive to get it in the first place. You know what I mean? Like they
I,
had to save up
I,
every time.
to give you an idea of how long I've had this mic, dude, this is when COVID was peaking and we were getting unemployment. That's how.
It's
So
still crazy.
and you know what's
Yeah.
funny is because the group that, or the whole title that Josh has, the government funded group, we may as well say this, some of the shit that I have is government funded. I mean,
Isn't
outside of
that
the
funny?
webcam. Outside of the webcam right there.
Well, we've made a lot of extra purchases away from those checks, from the stimulus checks. So that whole thing about being government funded is, I kind of like, it's more like the government founded, but that has a whole other connotation.
That's
So
yeah, that's a whole different topic for like
it's
another
more or less
day.
that money. Yeah, exactly. It's more or less that money gave us like the push that we
Yeah.
needed to get in that direction. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why
Yeah,
it's not necessarily thing.
as much as COVID was a very dark time for like a lot of us. I mean, it still is a dark time right now, although we're getting better.
I mean, we're effectively back. It's just the world is not going to be the way it was.
Exactly.
At least at least not for a long, long time. And even then, we're always going to be like, "Yo, remember COVID? This is something that's a scar. It's a scar on the world because it affected them.
Exactly.
It's crazy." Yeah.
But as much as COVID has affected us negatively, it has at least helped us kind of become more creative. Like I think I've noticed that like as a society we've become way more creative lately.
I think a lot of people, because they couldn't do the thing that they were doing every day for a while, jobs, and but for at least a good amount of time, people realized, okay, I need to find something else that I can grab onto, so that when I go back, I'm secure, and I know for a fact if I ever have to leave again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to fall apart. And I think, and it's not, it's that mixed with a bunch of other stuff, of course, but like I've seen so many people take up, like you said, new creative hobbies and new things like that. I picked up drawing. Like before, outside I never considered myself an artist, ever. Like I doodled in class. I did that whenever I was bored, and I knew I had like a weird thing to like copy, but not really. It was doodles. It was
Just kind of
doodles.
like a point of
So
reference,
like
essentially.
exactly. And so I was doing nothing. But because the pandemic hit, and because I was dealing with a bunch of shit, I didn't, and I didn't have my outlet again. I had to find it. I had to find that outlet, and I remember thinking back from, I think this was something one of my therapists said to me when I was crazy. I had went to therapy when I was a kid. But I mean, I feel like a lot of kids did actually,
I didn't.
which is funny. But no, you didn't. Oh, well, see, but
No.
there you go. Maybe I've just been surrounded by crazy people my whole life.
Sounds like me on a
That's
daily
not true.
basis.
Well, yeah, but it's also not true that if you go to therapy, you're not crazy. But I remember that one of my therapists said that. Oh no, I'm drawing a blank.
Something about drawing.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Said that if you have trouble expressing yourself, or if you're feeling emotionally, or sorry, creatively stifled, it helps to exercise it in other art mediums, even if you are well versed in only one, or like you've been focusing on one for a long time. It helps to express yourself as an artist in multiple art mediums, so that you can truly understand really what kind of art you put into the world, what kind of themes you gravitate towards. But also it's therapeutic because it realigns you, it centers you. um it started for me by like doing landscape stuff, which I mean, I've showed you a couple of things, and
Mm-hmm.
you've
Yeah,
seen some of the
definitely.
stuff that I've done, and I'm still drawing to this day. Like uh I'm going back to doodling roots, but like stuff like this. I don't
Like a
know if
lot
you
of
can
like
see
small
that.
stuff like that.
Small stuff, and then like little doodles that you just see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see it. I saw it. I saw it.
It's cool though. Like it's not. high quality. I'll give it that, but it's not meant to be. It's
I
meant
mean,
to be just.
it's a start to something at least, so it's not like that big of an issue.
It's still an express. Yeah, it's still an expression of art, and I don't know if I want to like pursue it and put that same focus I had on the other art medium on that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I feel like that's one of the benefits of COVID and having to be like we took something that was forced upon us because of our health or lack thereof, and a lot of people turned it into something that they could either monetize, that they could get spirit, fulfillment from,
Find like
whether
an outlet
it
for them
be
or something like that.
exactly, yeah, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful that a lot of people did that, even in their own small, special ways. Even if life itself is still kind of a lot and crazy, it's. I think it's important that a lot of us found something like that to grasp on.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, like definitely because like let's put it this way. Like I know I've had people like before they said like even as far back as like when I first started working, people were thinking like because of my voice I could do like radio or something like that. The way it like projects and all that. And then I mean this is
yeah,
and I guess I'm kind of like holding true to that word because we are doing a podcast, even though it's going to be it's going to be post edited and stuff like that. I mean, well, quote unquote post edited because
I've always thought that you work very well with a script because once you know and you don't have to worry about what you're gonna say, you can really focus on how you say it. And I feel like a lot of actors have to be in the moment and be present.
mm-hmm.
And you definitely you both are and aren't. Because it's funny because I haven't seen you like do anything since high school.
No one has
But
asked me to
from
do anything, and honestly,
exactly. Josh kind of has, except he hasn't given you dialogue. He's just given you direction,
yeah,
which
the very first project, or one of the projects
Mhm.
that we did,
I I
at
love that one,
yeah,
but I love that one. It's my place. I
yeah,
think it's
my place,
viewable
I
on
believe.
Josh's. Yeah, I think it's viewable on Josh's Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that video. I'm nowhere affiliated with that video. I was busy at work that day, and you guys were doing something, and
It's what's funny is that originally on that plan we were actually thinking of just going bike riding like around like that area because that's actually where I used to live. And it's kind
yeah.
of funny that the title of it is called My Place because the house that I was looking at the end of the video was actually the house I was living in for like 15 years, pretty much
See,
childhood and
see
into
that is so crazy. When you guys told me that, I it blew my effing mind. It
yeah.
actually blew my mind because I was like, wait, so you're telling me that what we're seeing has real life ties here? Not only that, but also the narrative that's being told here it kind of mirrors real life
Mhm.
through you.
Yeah,
It,
exactly.
and the fact that it happened by accident, like you guys were just going to go on a bike ride,
Yeah,
and
it
then
sort of
you
just
guys,
happened by accident. Like I mean it's been so long since Josh and I have ever talked about that. But I was just like
if he signs on a little later, we should circle back around to this
I think
because
we
I
should
love that
if
video.
he does. I mean, I'm trying to get him on this like hopefully like
Yeah.
in the next like 10 minutes or something. I don't know. I mean, for all we know, it just is what it is. Um
Yeah, I mean, everyone. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Here,
and
let's.
it's
Oh,
and I guess
go
like the
for it. I'm
last thing I
sorry.
like to like kind of talk about like in terms of that like recently when me Josh and you went on like a little bit of a ride pretty much all around like his fucking neighborhood, this man
Oh
about to
yeah.
become the Flintstones eventually. My
Sorry,
god,
that was them
that
running
giant
on the road
downhill was
to
like
wrap
I'm like
up.
oh my god.
Oh my god. All right, that was a 7 mile ride, and you guys were both on bikes. You had an assisted motorized bike that was still a
Yeah,
bike, so you still had to pedal, but like still. But I was on a skateboard. I was on a longboard,
man was on a
and
skateboard and you know how momentum would become at that point.
dude, I mean, wait, do I have my shoes with me? Hold up, wait. I want to show proof of this because You guys, I showed you
Yeah,
when
you
we
were
went.
like, you
I don't know if
guys.
it's as pronounced,
I mean,
but
try to see
here,
how's he.
hold up. Did you see that incline? Do you see that?
Oh yeah,
It
you kind of
curves
could see
around. As opposed to this, which is what it's supposed to be,
that
it's
is like burnt
that.
out like rub. Yeah, burnt out rubber,
that
man.
that was because I went like that on the freaking well, you saw, but
Yeah,
like
you were
I
sitting on
went
the
like that
board.
on the pavement, and it just grinded the shoe. Oh no,
Sooner or later, you were gonna just see the insole.
dude! Anyone who follows you that watches this that also collects shoes are gonna hate me. They're gonna be like, "Yo, those were Nikes. What the
Mm,
fuck's wrong
I
with
mean, you know what's
you?"
funny is that people wouldn't really care on those
No,
models.
no, those models, those not. See,
Because it's
I
not
don't know.
see, it's one
Yeah,
thing if it was like an actual like Air Force One. That one is just like some just kind of like mimic essentially for Nike,
yeah,
which I don't know
yeah.
why they do
It
that.
is because the actual Air Force Ones are probably priced to skyrocketing prices, and I bought this for
In
under
the aftermarket
$100.
right now, yes, for some fucking reason. I don't know why, but they are.
I also got these a while ago too, so
So they're old. I
yeah.
mean,
But
they're
like,
just
look,
old as shit.
yeah, look at that. But hey, that's vintage. Like this is kind of sick. If I took this to a shoe restoration place,
I'm
they
sure they
probably
would.
couldn't do anything about the skid thing, but on the bottom. But like, I don't know.
I
Oh,
mean,
look at that. That was
oh
funny.
my god, you can actually see the diagonal like pattern.
Yeah, and I've had these for a while,
I
so
mean,
these
yeah,
are
it's
old.
it's going through the it's the wear and tear basically.
Yeah, but they're good.
Yeah,
They're good.
it seems like they're good.
What else would we need? Do we want to? Because I know we had some other topics we want to get to.
So last night, I mentioned this to you and then to like
Mm.
some of our group chat as well, like a personal group chat that consists of our Fortnite group.
Hmm.
So I watched the Ant-Man and the Wasp last night. Um,
Sorry,
I'm
no, you have to give me a second. You have to give me a second.
okay.
Okay, all right, go.
Okay. So
Go
the
for it.
so I'm going to just say this like for this to start phase 5 of Marvel, this is pretty weak.
Uh, see, okay.
Do you want me to go
I
into
need. Okay,
spoiler territory or
no, I
no?
don't. No, no, no. I
Okay, I'll
don't
shut
want
the
you to
hell
go
up
into
on that.
spoiler territory.
Well, all I'm gonna say is visually, CGI looks amazing. It is visually a
Okay,
very impressive
okay.
film in terms of CGI, but then at that point, some of the action is okay. It's a lot of CGI again. The
Is your
other
problem? Is the issue then with the story?
pacing. It has really weird pacing.
Okay, okay, all right, and all right. Don't. All right, all right,
I'm
all
gonna leave it
right,
at as like
all
as
right.
just
Don't
that.
say.
The
Yeah,
pacing of the
yeah.
story is really odd.
Okay, in order for me to give the context for your opinion on this, I want to know what is your favorite MCU movie?
In terms of favorites, it's a
What?
it, okay. If I
Okay,
were to pick
actually, okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize. I'm gonna add, when it comes to pacing, what is your favorite MCU film?
in terms of pacing, it is probably going to be Civil War. Um,
Okay.
well, I had to think about because like Civil War, I think just Civil War as a film is really good, especially because you're considering like a big group of individuals basically at each other because they don't because it's a clash of ideals. And the thing I liked is the fact that they knew how to make heroes seem dangerous in general. And I guess like I honestly think like the Captain America films in like overall I think were some of the better films in my opinion.
I do agree with that as well, actually.
Like
Yes.
Winter Soldier was really good. The fact that it was a spy espionage film is pretty fucking dope.
I'm gonna. It's not outing myself, but I'm gonna say something.
Hmm.
Uh, Phase one, you know, Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor,
Even
Captain
even
America,
though Iron Man 2 is kind
Avengers.
of a I mean, from what
I
I've heard,
mean,
you know what's
I'll give you
crazy?
this. I'll give you. What's
Okay,
crazy? What's
so
crazy?
like out of Phase One that I've like really watched, I've at least watched Iron Man and Thor like maybe like last year. Crazy enough. I that probably broke someone's heart. Whoever's list.
Probably, but it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, at this point, like
So
everyone has talked about it, so it's like, do I really need to watch this now?
true, and I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Phase one has been talked about to death.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could just talk about it a little bit more, real quick, just for a second, only because before Winter Soldier, before any of those like amazing movies of pacing, I guess mine in terms of pacing would be would actually be Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah,
Ant-Man and the Wasp. You think it had good
yeah.
pacing?
Well, okay. All right. I say that because I love the kind of story that they told there. It was a heist movie, but it was more like a big ass game of hot potato. I mean, that's what it devolved into, at least in the third act. Right before it, it kind of I don't know, like it allowed us to live in his kind of his house arrest. It allowed us to feel that mundanity of what he was going through day to day, and I feel like with now that we've been through a pandemic, people understand what that could entail. So I feel like the way that they made that go through was, actually pretty nice. And then leading into the, you know, him being discovered, well, not discovered, him coming into contact with Hope's mom, and all the quantum stuff that really does lay the groundwork for what I assume they were going to build upon in Quantum Mania.
So
So, but I liked it. I like the way that they paced out each of the arcs. I like the fact that there were a lot of moving parts and there were a lot of like pieces. It kind of allowed the audience to be smart a lot of the time, because I feel like sometimes there are some pacing issues. Not within, I mean, there are in the MCU, but Civil War is not that example. I believe Civil War is a good example of pacing as well. But it wasn't my favorite only because they had kind of a crutch with trying to shoehorn in Spider-Man, because it just felt like with no matter
he did
where
feel
you put him
like,
in,
look, as much as I
it's
love Spider-Man, like in that, like
yes,
as much as I
yes.
love this Spider-Man, I do feel like, yeah, I do kind of see like where you're coming from. It's like he did sort of feel like really shoehorned in. It's very
But
much
yeah,
like, let's put it
that's
this way.
basically just
Like in terms of characters that felt shoehorned in, I mean, like we can even like mention like Wakanda Forever. I felt like Ironheart was just shoehorned in just because she's getting a series.
and it is interesting, right? That's a whole question. That's a whole conversation about Phase Four that I think I want to bring up, but in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Ironheart to me felt like, yeah, anybody else could have really fit that role in the narrative of Wakanda Forever. But I see also why. I mean, everyone saw why. It was very obvious why they needed her to be there, because that was really just the perfect spot to put her
In
in terms of in terms of the overall pacing of everything. But there have been choices like that throughout Phase Four that I think they were biding time, because the way that they released a lot of different stuff as well for Phase Four and Phase Five, Phase Six, it felt. I mean, a lot of it wasn't their fault. Fault. I mean, a lot of it was the pandemic. A lot of it was scheduling conflicts. I mean, could you imagine if intended to release as is with no pandemic, we should have gotten Loki first. We wouldn't have gotten WandaVision until way later in. Like Loki would have happened, then What If, then maybe WandaVision, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier was like way later. But because they were all finished, but because of certain conflicts and everything, it all got mixed matched.
mm-hmm.
So I don't hold that against Phase Four for pacing. It's gonna suffer pacing wise either way, I think, because of that, and that's just not something you get. Whereas Civil War, again, is paced it's paced really well. You got great people, same people who worked on Winter Soldier, which just has intense like engaging pacing where you're enraptured trying to figure out how he's going to solve the spy mystery. Whereas Civil War is a civil war, and they treat it like a civil war, for all intents and purposes. So
I
they
think
shoehorn a lot of yeah.
I think the thing about those two films was because how high these stakes are versus like this film. It doesn't feel like there's high stakes, even though there should be. But continue.
For Quantumania.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Okay. Oh man.
It's like it's really hard for me to explain this without trying to get really detailed. But the best way I
No,
can,
and you're fine. And you no, yeah, but you don't have to if you can't.
I mean, the movie just came out essentially today. So for all like, so like maybe like the next time in recording,
This
if
is
we
like,
even bring it up, we could talk more detail
well,
about
hopefully,
it.
but by the next time that we do a podcast, I'll have seen it and we can talk a bit more in depth of like the plot and what happens. But
Maybe we can actually get like another person like involved on that too. You know,
yeah, I'm down.
yeah,
But just to
we'll
finish my
see.
point real quick, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's me. I'm taking
No,
forever
you're
to get
good.
to my
You're
point.
good. May as well like we may as well hear it, man.
Basically, I bring up Civil War, and I love Spider-Man, but I feel like a lot of people could agree with me that it kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I'm glad that they added him. I'm glad that we got the stories that came out of it, and I'm very glad that it all led up to No Way Home, and now that's being a jumping off point for new Spider-Man stories, which is great, which is actually really really good. But every time something like that happens, it just shows that they will only, to an extent, at least other studios will only care about what will get people in the seats. And while Marvel does care about their continuity and in universe continuity as well, they've shown to make choices that will get butts in the seats, and that's what Spider-Man felt like to me in Civil War. I feel like they could have used any hero to fit that role, and they just wanted to have access to Spider-Man because right around the time they were making a deal with Sony,
Yep.
which is why also partially I think that's why they're dragging their feet on on the Fox universe with the X-Men, because a lot of that is tied by contracts from previous works of film. If like you're going to use these characters, their likenesses are tied to these actors' contracts. So unless you want to just take and that brings whole other slews of connotations and different, like, pokes holes in a lot of narratives that people are trying to tell within the MCU. And that's not what they're about. They're always about putting the story first.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they've been caught making these monetary decisions. So it's just interesting to see like they're where people have that's why I asked what was your favorite pacing wise, is because everyone has their favorite MCU film and their favorite characters and everything for various amounts of reasons. I personally love the personalities of Guardians of the Galaxy way more than any other modern hero. However, I still will. I won't say that Guardians is my favorite film, like MCU film. I have
Yeah.
other reasons for that, but I think that just the personalities fit. Same thing for pacing. I just like the pacing in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know if I think it's better per se. I just favor it more. I don't know. I like those.
Okay.
I like the dynamic that he has. I like how a lot of that can be done. But uh, I hope, I hope that maybe I see something different. Maybe it is or even if it is like not the strongest for pacing, I'm still excited to see it, and
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, one
yeah.
second. I'm gonna be like moving my camera around a little bit, but yeah,
In
but
fact, you're gone. You disappeared.
I
Oh
disappeared
no.
for like 5 seconds. I gotta get like a ring light, bro.
Wow, that is a beautiful street.
Shit.
Oh my god.
Wow, this is really weird.
I actually got scared. I was about to compliment the street, and then you came out of nowhere.
Okay, this actually looks a little bit better. Yeah, definitely I'm getting a new ring light after this podcast.
I
That's
mean,
for
that's
sure.
fair too. I should probably turn on my light.
The
Actually, now
problem
that I
is
think
my
about it.
light is in the back, and so like the light source is gonna be focused on there. So I'll
You
have to
should
figure that
move
out.
it to the other corner.
But
If anything. Hold
dude, do
up.
you?
Sorry, this is so unprofessional. This is
I don't
so
care. This is
unprofessional.
not. We're
Oh
going
my
in one
god.
take.
Ugh.
Well, you're good.
Ah.
Well, you're good on that. See, my light is in the corner for a reason, just because that's where my light switch is.
Yeah.
So it's plugged into that.
Is it distracting that I've had these on this entire time?
I mean, not. I mean, I can see the glare, but it's not that distracting to me, honestly. So.
All right. Well.
Anyways,
I'll
to get
try to
back.
aim my face down.
Yeah. But to get back onto the whole issues I have with Ant-Man. Look, as good as the CGI is, the problem with well, let me just get started with what was good outside of CGI. Jonathan Majors is fucking awesome. He does.
Yeah,
There
when
is
he was
no
announced,
way he could fuck it up.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really know a lot about his work, which is a shame on my part. I was keeping myself a lot from a great talent. Jonathan Majors has
He's
such a
an
command
awesome.
over any role.
Awesome talent.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to see him in this movie. If nothing else, just to introduce him, so that maybe with a bigger budgeted, I don't know how big the budget was on Ant-Man, and I assume
Probably was a lot because of the
they're not.
CGI, if anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that usually is expensive, but like, it's just funny to me. Everyone's been like so focused on like the inner universe, inner movie and project continuity that I'm just excited to see Kang in this movie. I'm just excited to see Jonathan Majors in this role. I think that I loved watching him as he who remains in Loki, and then when I was watching press around this, he was like, "Yeah, by the way, this character and the character I played in Loki, they are not the same character.
They're not.
Like, they may be even considered like variants. I don't even want to see it that way. I don't. This guy is not that guy so clearly that once you see me up there, you'll agree. And I don't know if that's true. I want to see that for myself. And I guess I want to ask if that came across to you as such a thing. Like, did he seem like?
So unfortunately, I'm like gonna do a disservice. I have not really watched Loki. I was only described what he was like at the end. But I mean, I'm gonna watch it after, just because I watched Ant-Man, and then I was like, oh wait, he's in Loki, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll try to make some time to watch it.
What I'm letting you know now that if there's anything that you haven't seen, I hate to give you homework, but you're gonna have to watch it if you want to understand, because they will literally, because they literally can pull it.
I was gonna watch it eventually because I mean the post credits kind of like, to say the least. Sorry if it's a spoiler, but it's really a Disney Plus ad. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's a Disney Plus ad at the end.
I mean, let's be honest. That's kind of what they've been doing all throughout, Phase 4 as well. Mm-hmm. So, I don't think that's gonna go away anytime soon. I just hope that the quality of what they're doing will translate a bit better.
Up on it, yeah.
Yeah, but that's so funny.
Yeah, but don't worry. I'll probably get to Loki at some point, like between now and I guess the next recording. But depending on work too. It's also that.
No.
Typical life stuff.
I believe it. Oh, yeah. For sure, absolutely.
But ooh. Yeah, Jonathan Majors was really good as Kang, as Kang the Conqueror. The pacing thing is very spoiler territory. That's all I can really say.
And let's not. Let's not. I'm so sorry. I'd rather. Gosh, me and a friend were supposed to go see it, and we couldn't get tickets in time because his card wasn't working.
Oh damn.
And I said, like, let me buy it for you, and he's like, nah, and that's a whole thing. So I'm gonna tell him, like, yeah, exactly. So like, it's a pride thing, but it's fine because like it's a good pride thing.
Yeah. What's it called? Yeah, but outside of that, I mean, the other kind of thing that annoyed me about this film there's a lot of shaky cam, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like getting really sick, just like kind of seeing all the shaky cam, and I'm like, can you please stop? Keep it still for like 5 seconds, please.
Oh no. Oh no. Like, wait, how? Like, I'm trying
Like
to
I
find a
can't see
reference
what's
movie
like moving.
that had a bunch of shit.
Everything was a blur basically the whole time.
Well, like District 9? No, I'm kidding.
Like everything
Actually,
was like
wait.
in constant motion, and I couldn't understand what was going on. Sometimes I'm like, wait, this happened, but then it was a little.
No, my
Again,
bad.
I'm not gonna say it was a bad film. It just wasn't great.
I
But
feel okay. Have you been experiencing the Marvel burnout that a
yes,
lot of people have been?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the reason that yes?
I mean, for starters, there's too many. I think the issue with Marvel is they have too many projects that were too close to each other. But my roommate told me that they got hit with so many delays because of the quality of the Disney Plus shows.
Hmm.
My understanding. But even then, I'm like, I think it's just because they're trying to do too many things for one phase when they can.
I,
And I think
mhm.
that's what made the early phases like good. That it was just the films. You let the films set their own foundations, and you just build it off that. Now they're trying to do, I think, too many things at once. It's very much an issue of, funny enough, a series that they worked with Square Enix on, fucking Kingdom Hearts. Like, if you think about it, like, the issue Kingdom Hearts had was they had a lot of games, and it almost seemed essential for them to be canon. Now think about how Marvel has been doing it lately. They're having all these like different TV shows that have to be canon or that have to relate to a certain character or certain antagonist in X film, you know.
Mhm.
You kind of notice that recently?
You know what I've noticed? I think it's less from Kingdom Hearts. It's funny that there's a correlation there, and it's funny that both properties have done that. I just think that it's more or less mirroring what actual comics did. Because I mean, you got to think about like all these like great storylines that came out were all pretty much trial and error. Some of them were fairly recent. A lot of what comics was trying to do was trying to take these IPs and put them in front of, it was always about money. And
Mm-hmm.
so knowing that they knew they had to get good stories. After a while, it then just becomes so interconnected. And actually, at first, comics were very standalone. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until like I don't know which I like to watch a lot of comic like YouTube videos and stuff because I don't have the patience to read a bunch of them myself. I only when I really like the storyline do I buy the comic or do I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I still want to experience these stories because these are still great stories, and a lot of them are what's being drawn upon for by Marvel. Like if you look at a lot of their inspiration, it comes from runs in the comics,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the comics have gotten to such a big juggernaut industry that Marvel and DC have so many IPs that naturally go and cross over. Like when things had their spin-off just to see if it'll sell, and once it sells, like okay, well great, now they're an IP that we have. Now this is where they have their origins, this is that, and then you have new creative writers coming in to see all of these IPs that they're now tasked to do something with. They're like, all right, well let's see what happens if we put the Hulk with the Thunderbolt Ross in an alternate dimension, and now boom, and now but then now when they exit the alternate dimension, Thunderbolt Ross is now a Spider-Man villain. The fuck, and like it's just that they want to get people to read their stuff, much the same that the studios want to get butts in the seats.
So very
So
much like almost like a way to just see if an audience can really like buy more, I guess.
yeah,
Is
exactly, and I feel like they have that much freedom, right? But whatever their choice is has to result in eyes on the screen, butts in the seats. That's what. And so when you know that your fan base wants quality entertainment, then but your superiors just want you to turn out a profit, it's at that point you need the control. But when you have that much control, you have too much freedom. And I think a lot of what is happening is because they're doing it incrementally, because they're allowing an individual artists to express themselves and express their vision onto a project with these IPs, which is what they did in the comic book industry, you're going to get a lot of trial and error. You're going to get a lot of, for every Peyton Reed, there's a Ryan Coogler. You know what I mean? For every Chloe Zhao, there's the Russo brothers. But like these, that's not to say that the former are worse than the latter. You know what I mean? It's just they tried something. They were given this IP with these parameters, and they tried something. Much like every artist out there is going to try something, it's never a guarantee if what they touch is gold. I mean, I have some controversial ideas on certain artists in the industry that I shared with Josh. You know, one of which about Martin Scorsese. But that could be just me being really into the MCU and being sore about what he said. I'll be man enough to say that. But there's an element of freedom that comes with a bunch of these artists, and I feel like that's intimidating because yeah, you have the freedom to choose the story, but if no one else likes that story, then it's deemed as a bad story. And it could be a good story. Like I honestly liked the I like the story of Black Widow. Did I think it makes sense and is it the most logical one? No. But I liked the ride that it took me on. And the more and more I look back on like phase one, phase two, they're not the golden standard. There's a lot of issues with those
Oh
movies.
shit! Yeah, I mean, dude.
I mean,
Considering it's
Thor:
the
The Dark
first.
World was considered one of the worst MCU movies, and that's phase two. That's literally the second Thor movie. So it's like, and when you watch that movie, if you were to take that movie and place it just a few years earlier, as is, and it would have done wonderful because that's what it was doing. It was doing what was popular a few years before
Mhm.
with the whole fantasy epic. It turned it turned the first one, which was a shake. I'm sorry, I'm getting off the topic, but it's important to have these different ideas. I think I actually really liked a lot of ideas from the Eternals.
I'm trying to
And
figure
I
out a
want to
method.
see a bunch of them. Sorry.
Don't worry. I'm like, I think I'm trying to figure out a method to like have a light on my face. This will have to do for now.
There you go.
All right. This is a temporary method, but yeah,
At least we can see your face.
yeah. At least we can see it. Let me just turn this shit off then.
But anyways, I just wanted to say that for like for as far as like the artist,
So
I'm
like
losing track of
the
what I'm saying.
aspect, yeah, I kind of see I do see what you're talking about, like where there's a lot of freedom that you get once you start becoming a creator, but then it's kind of like you kind of need to like contain yourself in some way. Is that like the way to look at it, or?
Yeah, well, there's been evidence of a bunch of like filmmakers making choices based off of IPs that will kind of mirror or not mirror merge two separate storylines together to streamline it, right? To get
Yeah.
this good new narrative out, and that's prevalent a lot in Batman media. Like they'll and especially no, that's not a good example. But like Batman media, a lot of the times, like his standalone movies will like mirror. There you go again. Merge two different storylines. Um, I actually had an interesting. Uh, I did so. This isn't one of the topics that we were going to talk about, but moving from Marvel to something a bit more recent and polarizing, the DC slate that James Gunn just recently announced.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing I had kind of an idea. Just this is just a fan theory idea of that Batman movie that's slated on there, The Brave and the Bold.
Mm-hmm.
I had this whole like idea of what if you were to um take like the storyline of Damian Wayne and how he in one storyline he was basically raised to be um uh the 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 heir to the shadow, not the shadow,
The
the
Ra's al Ghul,
Ra's
like
al Ghul's League of Shadows,
League of Shadows. Yeah.
and he was supposed to be the next in line. He was grooming him. That's what they in my head canon. That this is how it goes. Like he's there. There's very secrecy around who his father is. They didn't want to know that Batman's his father, and Damian has inherent detective skills. Like he is just really good at critical thinking and problem solving, and just innate at it, and something that he was born with, something that no one else taught him. And there's like a faux relationship between him and his mom, where he thinks it's real, but his mom is like deceiving him, but all the while being bittersweet about it. Um, and there's an underlining theme, and all the while they send Damien on this uh, reconnaissance mission to test his
Mm-hmm.
abilities, and they send him to Gotham. They send him to Gotham, uh, or they can send him anywhere else. And somehow his path crosses with Batman. He's like pursuing somebody, meets Batman, and he Batman does not catch him. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
he follows Batman back to the Batcave, showing his prowess as a hunter and as an assassin, but also as somebody who's light on their feet who can be good in action. And obviously, he's discovered. There's a big fight in the Batcave. Then he discovers who he is. They run a
Mm-hmm.
blood analysis, um, and they come back conclusive that it's your son. What the fuck? And the rest of the meat and potatoes of the movie is him forming a relationship with Damien, trying to get him to be
Like a
under
father
his supervision,
son
trying
type
to
of story, basically.
yes, absolutely. But then the twist of it is that there's no, there was another reason why they sent Damien to go after Batman, because it was found out that, oh whoa, in the end Ra's al Ghul was actually just grooming Damian Wayne so that he could then take over his body through a ritual in the Lazarus Pit, where basically because how many times Ra's al Ghul has used the Lazarus Pit over thousands of years, he can his organic body cannot take it anymore. Like it's about to burst. It's failing him. Organs are failing. Like just complete medical disarray. And the way around it is a very contrived thing from the story standpoint, but you could explain it away from an old to ancient technique or something. And basically, it's a body swapping spell where it traps Damien in the dying body of Raish, and it's seen as a huge sacrifice and an honor, and it's supposed to be very manipulative. And Damien himself goes through the paces and
Keep
has to
going.
like
I'm gonna turn on my light.
well, if you can hear me. Yeah, I feel like with what they're gonna do in the DC in this new expanded universe, excuse me, if they started it like that and then had that go through the whole story, and then right there at the end, kind of like the little teaser, is him having a conversation with Damien after the whole aftermath. It's like, I thought I was supposed to do this. I thought this was before my life. It's like you're meant to be something better. You could be the next the next Batman? No. You could go beyond Batman. And that's the tease that they're setting up Damian Wayne
To become
to be
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond. Yes, and because then you can let time play out naturally, and then through the other course of other movies have technology advance. So by the time that Damian Wayne, or the character Damian Wayne, when you want him to be an adult, it's already at that time period. Bruce is still the man in the chair. You still have that dynamic between him and Terry McGinnis, but you just merged the characters of Terry McGinnis and Damian Wayne. You could even say that they altered Bruce's original, DNA sample and put it in the Lazarus Pit, and that's where Damien was raised, is in the pit. So there's some extra shit. It adds to the lore and it mashes up two different characters, but that's the idea that I had when I heard of the slate, and that's kind of what I'm talking about in terms of certain Batman media. But that's not an example. That's just me. That's me personally.
That would
Don't get me
actually.
twisted.
That's a really bold take. But the only thing is
And
then the
yeah,
possibility of Terry McGinnis being in an actual live film is, well, that kind of gets shot down immediately. But I mean,
yes,
it would be different.
yeah,
I would say this: it would definitely. That is a big gamble to go with.
yeah. Although, there is something to be said about Damian Wayne having grown up as an only child, he never knew what it was like to work as a team. And he starts to learn that with Bruce. And then as you go through, maybe you have Damien become a member of the Teen Titans, and have a Teen
Yeah, I was about to
Titans
actually
movie
mention, what
or
about the
TV
Teen
show.
Titans? Why don't we get like an actual like film with him?
You know, if you want me to flesh this out after that movie and after he says the Beyond things, like, but for now, I want you to stay close to the ground, get some reconnaissance, get some experience under your belt. He's like, what? You want me to be a part of your League of Justice? Do it good, do two shoes? No. I think you should be something else. And then it cuts to black, and that alludes to the Titans, and they can, you know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah, that would
I feel
actually
like,
be really good. That would be a really good way
and
to
then
introduce Titans.
at the end of Titans, like maybe it's a TV show. Titans is, and at the end of season 1, he realizes that they're not the first Titans. There were Titans before them, and that's when we get introduced to Nightwing. That's when we get introduced to Red Hood. That's when we get introduced to Red Robin. All ex-proteges of Batman that Damian had no prior knowledge about. What kind of dynamic is that going to set up? And then from there, we have a whole multi-platform crossover where Batman sacrifices his life. Because I think that's important.
I think killing, you may as well say you're setting up the Gotham Knight.
But this is already, like, in the grand scheme of things, this is like movies and TV shows, several in. So we've already had time with this Batman. We've already had time with all these characters to love and to appreciate their stories. That's the idea. And then at the end of that, we then see someone else take up the cowl, and then someone else, and it's different stages of what it's kind of like be. Different.
Could you just maybe just set up like basically like all the like proteges of Batman to take on the cowl?
Yes. Yes. Like, sorry.
I was about to say, because why don't you mention? I was like wondering. I'm like, did you ever mention like Barbara Gordon at one point?
No, and I'll tell you one thing. There's definitely, in fact, you could probably replace a couple of characters with Batgirl. Like you could have Batgirl train. No. Here's the thing. I think I want Batgirl as her own story, because like there's enough. I feel like it wouldn't be satisfying for her just to be in that as a yeah. But if you are gonna put her in, much like Damian, she needs to start within a Batman movie or Batman project and then spin off. I think she could have her own thing. And they had a whole fucking Batman movie ready to go, and then that got fucking,
canned.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. And so, which sucks, because that people were excited about it, and apparently it looked pretty good. So I was like, what the hell? But
James Gunn went on like a fucking scorch earth like plan that I hated this idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
for all we know, this maybe he's got a lot of controversy for sure.
I think, if anything, the worst thing that it can be is literally, well, DCU just basically just can't make money.
But that's not true. Because these IPs still have a lot of passion behind it. Yeah. To me, and to me, and this might be very obvious, but I feel like the emphasis was on the IPs and the butts in the seats, but not so much the actual, like, what do we do with these people? Like, and even if they had stories that go somewhere, have the potential to go somewhere, at the end of each production, they're like, all right, let's go to the next one. It's like, okay, but are we going to pay attention to anything happening here? No. That we don't want to pigeonhole you in. It's like, there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a balance for something. That's what Marvel is striving to find right now, is a balance between money and story and everything else, all the minutiae that gets in the way. So it's just it is interesting to see where Gunn is coming from, what potential there could be, and again, that's just me going off of a title, and I guarantee you it's not going to happen like that. We're not going to see, if we are going to see a Batman Beyond thing, it will probably be with Terry McGinnis, because they know how long people have been clamoring for something like that. They're not going to hopefully they don't mess it up that bad. I have a feeling that, yeah, my idea could be entertaining, but I could also see how polarizing it is. Like people would
It is a
not
very
like that.
it's very yeah, because like your whole idea of them is like, well, as interesting as it sounds, don't get me wrong, it is a very like high risk uh
You're changing
plot.
characters that people have bonded with over the course of like a decade now,
Exactly. But I mean,
longer in some of these cases.
yeah, who knows? I mean, who knows? Like, it could possibly happen. It could, but we don't know until well that time comes.
The way when he described the Supergirl, the one, and he was saying like, "Yo, this is something that's not really been done, especially with this character before. So we're gonna have some fun with this." I'm hoping that the projects surrounding the younger generation of heroes have that kind of edge. Like, I think that it's important to really make your character, if they are the titular character, they need to be the soul of the movie.
Hmm.
And a lot of that stems from like, if you're gonna have this character be associated with this kind of genre and element, then double down on it. You know, don't try and, or if you are gonna contrast it so much so with the fact that they are so in their genre that when they meet someone who is out of their genre, it really is something jarring, but it's also something entertaining.
Yep.
Like imagine seeing Supergirl who's all about the crazy survivalist, like almost Laura Croft but with alien world type shit vibes, going up and talking with Shazam. Who's a kid from Earth.
Who's a
You know
kid
what I
from
mean? Like,
Earth and just has to
yeah.
say a word to
Or
become a superhero.
yeah, or who is very comedy centric as well and who's very immature. So you have someone who's playing, because then you have someone who's cast who's actually older playing younger, and then you have somebody who's younger playing older based on the experience that each character has gone through. These are interesting dynamics, and I feel like there it could work, but you have to double down on both, and you have to be willing to to be representative of that. You know,
Yeah, you just
I
committing to
I'm
it.
I we won't really know how well this whole slate for his will work personally until we see the crossover event at the end. If he can get all of these solo stuff and the people he's put in charge, if they can get all of these solo stuff released and have at least good receptions when released, strong, solid receptions, then when the crossover event happens, and if that's strong and solid too, it's an automatic win because then you built the trust between you and your audience. And that is a big task, and I don't blame him for finding that hard, but I'm also wishing him the best of luck because I want to like these characters. I want to like these movies again. I want to be a DC fan as well as a Marvel fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry,
Just
I'm rambling.
nah, you're good. You know, I'm just still just waiting for the day Peacekeeper just destroys the world or something. I don't fucking know. As stupid as that. You know, that
You know,
series is so fucking
I wouldn't be
stupid, and I
surprised.
loved it. I loved
The
it.
fact
It's
that
stupid as hell.
yeah, yeah, no, God,
Ah, Peacekeeper.
clearly he knows what he's doing in that show.
Honestly, I'm
So
like, so when are we getting Peacekeeper versus Shazam?
you know, that's such a tall ask because the genre of Shazam, like that would only really work in a crossover event when you have so many different genres coming together like that, because then everyone could be strongly their genre, you know. Um, or they could do what Marvel did, where they changed a couple people. I don't know if you've noticed, like Rhodey was not that jokey in the original, even with Don Cheadle being in Iron Man 2 and 3. He wasn't that jokey. In fact, he played the straight man to Tony's jokes. But
No.
it wasn't until he came back for for Endgame that he had jokes. He had, I mean, granted, he probably had a new way of outlook on life after Civil War,
Yeah.
but but still, like he had. So I feel like the character changes could work there. Like you just need the characters to go through their own shit in their own movies and stuff to give them character development to get ready
Mhm.
for all these things. So it's also important to not completely map it out because when you completely map it out, then you're kind of pigeonholing other artists into going along with what you're trying to do, even though you haven't even started production yet, and they're trying to get out a whole fucking movie. That's not fair,
Hmm.
creatively speaking. So that's why like Marvel's, I feel like trying to just be like, all right, we're gonna take it one project at a time, and we're gonna build off of what we have. But they're also trying to get ahead of the curve. They're trying to get all this stuff slated so that they can tune it out at a reasonable time.
Yeah, exactly.
So and they're spreading their assets in half with the TV shows and the movies, which is why I'm also kind of I'm watching it with bated breath, because if DC does the same thing where they're releasing TV things with their movies congruently, then I hope they had the foresight enough to have all of these things done prior. But because we know where the press is, it's hard to. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to realize who's going to get the edge on who. And I feel like DC is in an interesting position, but I also feel like I don't know why this turned into Marvel versus DC. I apologize, but I feel like DC needs to study what Marvel is doing and
And
to
make it better.
understand what they're doing wrong. Because even though Marvel is tuning out great stuff, there's a reason why we're fatigued, and I think it was because of that backlog. They were just like, we just need to get all this out. We get all this out, which is also why they released a statement saying phase 5 and 6 are going to be a bit more focused on quality over quantity. So they might cancel certain. That's why they've canceled a few um, projects already. I think Spider-Man Freshman Year is canceled, if
Is
I'm not
it?
mistaken.
Really?
I don't know if it is. Don't quote
Or
me
is
on that,
it?
but
Well,
I feel
I've heard it. Everything about Marvel, just in general, has just been delayed. Like the after
yeah.
Guardians is the Marvels, which is in
Mhm.
November. So that's gonna be a while for like anything Marvel. So like Marvel related stuff.
Wait. That can't be right. Wait. No. That can't be right. That can't be
No,
right.
I was
There's
just told. I was
probably
told by my roommate. The Marvels got delayed to November. It was supposed to come out in June.
um that's weird. Okay, so you see, I don't know. I see. Guess take everything that I say with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I think we. I mean, we just got to see what these two companies are gonna do at this point going forward.
Yeah.
We can only just. I
But either
mean,
way,
we can only hope that they're gonna be
yeah,
good.
yeah, exactly. I hope that they're good. I hope that they're still entertaining. And at the end of the day, I gotta ask myself why I still go to these movies, why I still want to see this stuff. And is it to appease some part of me that I don't even tap into anymore, or is it still there? And am I just trying to experience it? And I think it's the latter. So that's wow. This topic took a long time.
Yeah,
My bad.
I honestly, I mean, shit. This might be just. We may as well just call this a superhero episode. I don't fucking know.
Well, that is unless we want to talk about any of
I mean,
the.
that was like a majority of our topic. I mean, and unfortunately, our other guest has not responded. So it's what it
No, that's
is.
fine.
I mean,
That's fine. I
we can
feel
always cater
I.
the topics like when we actually have everybody here.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll have to bring up that music video again because I want to talk about that with them.
yeah, definitely.
That would be cool.
And I would definitely want to do more like kind of like recordings like this, if anything. You know, whether if it is in
Oh yeah,
person, then I mean I can just let this camera rip and then just go from there.
for sure.
Yeah, but
Let me
I guess like
think.
some of the other topics that I did want to discuss. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna be like a shadow for a little bit. I mean, pretty much have like covered like some of our stuff, like like Ant-Man became a superhero talk, the whole streaming update. I don't know if I mentioned anything about my streaming, but I'm hoping to get that cleaned up fairly soon. I've been making progress on it, so that's good. Our life updates, we already like discussed that a lot, but I guess like I'm just gonna quickly just talk about Hogwarts for a sec.
Yes.
How the hell? It's funny that that game has sold so much money and the whole boycott thing just doesn't fucking work. It
You know,
as much as people
it's
wanted
not.
to like
Yeah.
boycott the game, it ain't gonna work. I I was hoping to do that with Activision stuff, but too many people play Activision games, so that shit ain't gonna happen.
I don't condone. I don't agree with what anything that J.K. Rowling has said on that community.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of also a personal preference of her. I just don't think she should have posted that. And now, I mean, yeah, those feelings are true, and yeah, Twitter brings out that side a lot of time, where the truth, quote unquote, or just the stream of consciousness of people. You know, it's one of the reasons why I don't have one. But at the same time, like this individual is gonna think what they think. Whether or not they're right in thinking what they think, that's not up for me to decide.
Yeah, exactly.
I
It's a very touchy
in a world,
subject.
I was gonna say, in a world where there have been people who have been role models to other people, and those role models have been outed to be people who have done despicable things. A good example of this is, you know, Kevin Spacey. I would say that is a lot more like
Damning, if
you know,
anything.
yeah, of course, because like he's a fucking monster. What he fucking did, and the fact that it turns my stomach anytime I fucking think about him. Now, I have no doubt that some people would describe that about J.K. Rowling. Anytime they think about her now, that they would have a very similar reaction. I don't know if I would say the same thing. To me, in my moral compass, what Kevin Spacey did was leagues worse than what J.K. Rowling did. I'm the only one comparing them. No one else has ever compared
I don't
these
think,
two.
yeah, because it's like
Obviously
it's
these
so
two.
different of a comparison to have
It
because
it
one is
is. It
actually
is.
doing something versus
But
an
if you
opinion.
really, yeah, yes, exactly. And while people have definitely boycotted and canceled Kevin Spacey, I think the same treatment to somebody who, yeah, maybe shouldn't have been vocal about that about that uncomfortability or whatever the hell. I, I, I don't know. I feel like this person's going to make money off of their residuals for the rest of their life because they created this IP. This IP touched so many people's hearts and was the safe space for a lot of individuals, including the individuals that she claims she can't understand or just doesn't understand or have some very strong opinions about. This was a safe place for a lot of individuals who didn't know who they were until they matured or who know who they are and feel trapped. So I cannot condone anything that this person has said. But that being said, there's a whole team of people who are still inspired by
Like
those
stories.
those stories and those characters and those IPs and these ideas, and do not share the same beliefs of the actual creator,
Mhm.
who spent their whole they for work they were doing this, and it was this job that gave them, you know, means to survive as well as a outlet for their passion of creating games. So, and not to mention, it's a well-made game.
Yeah,
It's thought out,
it's
and for
it's
any
like one of the highest. Like, I mean, I saw the Twitch viewership. It's like 1.2 million. Like first couple days, it's sold.
like
It's
I
probably
don't
sold like
know.
5 million already.
Yeah, exactly. And it's this game is not here to push an anti-trans agenda or any other kind of agenda. It is here to give us a story, an interactive story that we can literally step into, which is what all of the Harry Potter has ever tried to do with the books, by immersing you in this environment, by making you feel a part of these stories, and every single bit of media surrounding it now. And for anyone, including Universal Studios, is about immersing you in that world. So much so that when you make an account at the park, which you can tie that to your Hogwarts Legacy account because it's the same. It's the Wizarding World. So it's meant to work the same. It's literally using the technology that we have at our fingertips now as a facsimile for magic. Like, the immersion is definitely there. The demand is there. People obviously pay money for wands and all this other memorabilia. People still identify as being in Hufflepuff, Gryffindor. There's no real measure of unit of measurement to help us realize how much this IP has touched everyone's lives, how
Hmm.
much people resonate with this. And to
Yeah.
throw all of that away, to throw all of what this made you feel and made you connect with, and all the growth all the good that came out of it, just to throw it away just because the author can't get past a bias or get past a fucking mental
Oh,
thing in their head,
or like a feeling of sorts.
a feeling, a personal preference, and just people are going to be flawed. We can, I, there's a point, I feel, that with little control that we have over anything as consumers, our control is our reaction, right? And I guess that's why there's such a big outcry, because people hate that side of her that much and don't agree with it that to that degree that they're willing to sacrifice their own love for this to make a statement. And I can't fault that. That's not something I can speak upon because that is inherently true to the individual who feels that way. So if they want to boycott, if they don't want to buy it, they don't want to contribute, that's fine. But I don't think you should be making others feel guilty for wanting to immerse themselves in an IP that's dedicated to immersing you into that world.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there's so many great stories surrounding the Wizarding World. I remember growing up and having all those books come out and having them be prevalent. They were the first themes of any openly gay characters for one. Even if it was decided after the fact, like it was still like okay, fine, sure, good. And now people are looking back on that and say, was that just whatever? People are looking at it with cynical eyes now, and it is a shame, and it is not their fault, But I feel like it's a shame if you throw all that away. You throw the enjoyment of what you're denying yourself based off of principle alone. I know that sounds like I have a weak moral compass for that, but I put value into the stories that I resonate with, and you know you can get a lot from stories. You can get a lot, whether or not the author or they themselves follow the same teachings that they put in their own stories is kind of irrelevant because at that point, once the stories are made, it's about how it affects you, how it relates to you.
Hmm.
That's why they share their art with the world, because then at that point, when we experience it, we have ownership of it to some degree. You know what I mean? Like, you have a tattoo. You have several tattoos, but you have, yeah. See that one from Bart and Lisa one right there. That is someone's art. And what if the animator came out tomorrow and said, I'm not really particularly fond of any Asian people. Like, just imagine that, right? Like,
Yeah, like something like crazy like
what
that.
what what would be like that? That is kind of crazy. And don't get me wrong, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And he's alienating a whole part of and I get that, and
Hmm.
your feelings, how whatever you feel about that, are valid, but that's not going to stop someone who has watched The Simpsons for forever. It's not gonna stop them from watching The Simpsons because they've inherently tied it to who they are, and a lot of people have done the same for Hogwarts. A lot of people have done the same for that whole Wizarding World. So regardless of whether or not, and then you get a lot of people who are apathetic, right? You get a lot of people who just don't care about the outcry, who will do what they want to do regardless of what societally is correct. So you get those people. You get all kinds of different people. A true boycott, I didn't see it working. I commend the idea behind it, and I sympathize. I do sympathize, but at some point, it's about the art to me. Now, there's exceptions to that. I don't want to get into that, but Kanye. There are exceptions. There are exceptions. There are exceptions, or rather, there aren't. But I'm just a part of I'm half Jewish. I'm not gonna like, and that could be very biased on my part, and I understand that. So again, that's why I'm saying that the people who have these feelings toward this are valid. And if they don't want to play it and they don't want to be, that's totally fine. I just don't think you should hold everyone else to those same standards because you don't know how this IP has touched them. You don't know how this IP has influenced their life like that. So you could be denying them something that could actually really help, or something that could be really fun, and you never know. It's just a shame. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, it's just because, like, so for me personally, I've never really been a Harry Potter person. So, like, I don't have that much of an emotional attachment to them, but I can see it in other people and how much they enjoy the media. And it's like, I guess, like, eventually, once I get to, before I start playing the Hogwarts Legacy game, maybe I'll watch the Harry Potter movies prior. Now, from what I've heard, people have said that you don't need to watch the Harry Potter movies, but it would be nice, I guess. It's one of those kind of like, if you watch the Harry Potter
from what
movies,
I've seen, yeah.
But
sorry.
What's it called? But if you've seen the Harry Potter movies and then you get to live in the world of the Hogwarts Legacy game, then it's gonna be like, oh, that I'm in this section, I'm in that area, yada yada yada.
Exactly. Exactly.
There's gonna be a lot of that, and I'm like,
not to mention like just a bunch of name drops because you have lineage and ancestors and all that. So like, it's just great. It's cool.
Yeah, and the whole boycott thing, like I mentioned, it's like, I was gonna do that with Activision, and I mean, it's more. I think I'm now at the point. And I'm like, I just don't think there isn't gonna be a successful boycott unless the game's like legitimate broken. But if it's just ideals or a certain company has done said thing, is it really gonna make that big of a difference? Like,
yeah,
it has the only way a boycott works is the game is like straight up unplayable, or there's something wrong with it. There was a whole boycott with fucking Star Wars Battlefront 2 when that came out like years ago, because all the microtransactions, all the loot boxes, it was pay to win, and then eventually they decided to change the whole game, and then the game is now actually in a much better state, but there's just not a player base anymore because all that happened at the beginning.
I will say, I think it's interesting you say that too, because like, I feel like that was one of the things that Hogwarts Legacy has going for them, is that they made it a single player experience instead of a live service, or instead of something online where you have that potential for server issues and potential for like all that error that they've just, that not that same company of course, but that kind of industry has experienced with Marvel's Avengers and a bunch of other games that have been like that, have treated it like that, and there has been no substance outside of the few gameplays that you play every now and again. Like even if Marvel's Avengers had a good gameplay mechanic and reliable,
an actual like good gameplay loop would have helped it so much. But
exactly, because like
just
you saw
so
what they
boring.
were attempting, it just didn't work. Exactly, and I think Hogwarts Legacy doesn't suffer from that because they had the time to flesh out not only a full narrative in terms of the story, but 4 separate combat and all those gameplay mechanics, but also 4 separate routes for you to take advantage of all of those mechanics. And it's very smart, and they've taken off like it feels like one of those games like Breath of the Wild, where they took all of the previous like entries and found out what worked, what didn't work, and found out what they could replace with what didn't work for something that could work. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Like, it's funny too, because now that you like kind of like mentioned something like that, that's kind of actually like how the Dead Space remake, that's what it feels like, because from what I remember of the original Dead Space, and I played that game like many years ago, that game was not as smooth of gameplay. And I mean, it did have the elements. It had the horror elements. The story was interesting, to say the least. And, the silent protagonist, all that. So what did they decide to do for the remake? They decided to make Isaac voiced. and they changed up some of the dialogue with some of the characters, so they made the characters a little more interactable with each other. And then on top of that, the horror just kept going. It's maintained the horror, if not made it better. Um, and then if anything, and then controls on top of it. So they made, so it's kind of like let's take aspects of the other two Dead Space games, or like of all three, and let's just put it in the remake, just see how this goes. And sure enough, Dead Space Remake, in my opinion, is so far Game of the Year, but we still have several years to go, or several months to go on that.
I feel like a lot of good remakes, take what was great from a franchise throughout all of its games, and when they're remaking like the original game, they kind of implement. It's like a soft implementation, right? That's nothing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
It's very smooth. Another one had that. Not narrative wise, but gameplay wise, was Tony Hawk when they made the remaster stream for in 2020. That I'm sorry, they kept it bare bones, but in the sense where it felt like they kept the wall push, they kept the all the flatland stuff that they added in subsequent games. Like they added stuff in. Excuse me. I can't remember when they added the manual. They might have been the second or third game. But like that wasn't even originally a thing. So even though it was really just the first two games remastered, with the amount of gameplay, it felt like it learned from all of its installments, even the Underground series, even the spin-offs, even some of the worst stuff, and like found out what not to do, what to do for here, what to do there. And it just felt polished, and that's like a good example I can think of for that. But you're saying that for Dead Space, you saying it took it from 1, 2, and 3, and you think it did the same?
I mean, from what I've remembered of, like, again, like I have to just remember like really far back for the original Dead Space when that came out, or like when I played it like 20, I don't know, 2010, 2011, something like that. We're talking that long ago. Like it's also the controls. It's the controls as well of the game. Because I remembered, it felt clunky. Because and I understand that, like, well, one, hardware limitations, and two, because you're running around in like what's probably like a 200-pound suit of armor.
Right.
Well, it's an engineering suit, but still, it's fucking heavy, and you're out in space. But what I like that they did with that game was that they improved certain sections of the game, so it's more streamlined and it's not as irritating as like before. Because there is a section where there are these like cannons, okay? And you have to shoot down asteroids because it's gonna start hitting the Ishimura. So what it was before was an actual just turret section, and you were just shooting the meteors. What they did in this game to change it was you hacked the system and you just basically aimed with your gun, but every time you shoot, you're shooting the turret. It's a little more streamlined. It's not a like on rail turret section. And I was like, that's different, and it also adds tension because you're still actively in the world, and you could still be attacked by like whatever is in space.
Okay. Okay. See, that's a good example, because like they learn from their, later games.
Mm-hmm.
That's smart. That's really cool.
That's smart. But to kind of get back to, because like I know we really digressed into like other games, but
of course, yeah, we did.
But the whole but to kind of like wrap up the boycott thing, again, if it's just a game that because a company or a creator did certain things, it's not gonna work. It's just not, as much as you want to believe it.
Well, I guess it depends. I think it depends on the things, because if it's something that they said,
dude, Activision is a company that should just be like burnt to the ground, but they are making too much money off of Modern Warfare and Overwatch, and they're about to be bought out by Microsoft.
Who bought Blizzard?
Activision owns Blizzard, and Activision is about to be bought, but the FTC is the FTC and Sony are trying their best to not let that deal go through. And this deal has been in talks for like almost over a year already, and it's still
Mm.
nothing has happened.
Well,
And even though Microsoft is willing to play ball with Sony, cut him a deal, because the initial contract of Call of Duty, from what I remember correctly, is that this year it's supposed to end, but they were going to offer Sony another 10-year deal where Call of Duty will still be on PlayStation and it'll also be on Microsoft's like platforms and stuff like that. But Sony was I don't know what Sony is thinking. They made some like statements that were like kind of really just proving their points. So it's just
yeah.
like so that's just the issue. But yeah, still like I said, but like I said, boycotts aren't going to work. Let's just see how the games are at this point. Like that's why I don't stream like or play any of like Activision's games lately. They're just not as good as they used to be. They just really
Mm-hmm.
aren't. They look good. I can go as far as that. But do they play good? No.
I
They're not as fun
feel like the acquisition game has gotten a little out of hand,
with
if that
Microsoft.
makes sense. Oh, well, just in general, like this companies buying up other companies to have ownership of IPs and to get revenue. It just feels disingenuous. It feels like it's not. It's always nice to see the secondary companies that they buy still strive to make the content that they're making, but now we all know that there's going to be like small little changes across the board on everything because these bigger companies are going to try and compete to keep the IPs not only as lucrative as they've been, but also to gain more lucrative IPs. So it makes sense. It's probably the reason why they're trying to stop that deal is because it's probably going to be so inaccessible to all of their users and to their own systems as well.
Yeah, that's kind of like I mean that's like some of it, but it's also too because like I mean you also do want to let's put it this way, those companies want to make money. They need to sell a lot
Yeah,
of hardware. Um and Microsoft right now, the only thing that has really like been their like cash cow is just Game Pass, which is access to a ton of games at a very
all of them.
lowly cost. Now you have Sony who has actually been putting out actual games and getting them on time essentially, if not like maybe a delay or two. And they're putting it's quality games, and even though they are priced at $70 if you buy the current gen version, they are very good. Like fucking God of War Ragnarok, very fantastic game in my opinion. It's probably like
They
let's put it
know where
this
their
way.
strong games. Yeah, they know where their strong suits are, which is why I'm hoping. And they're put just like God of War Ragnarok. They're putting that much faith and stock into like Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8. They're hoping that these franchise installments are going to bring in these numbers like this.
Well, the good thing
This,
about
that's their trump cards.
Well, the good thing about those companies too, well, when you mentioned Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and then whatever NRS is going to work on, and it's honestly, those are third-party companies, but I don't think they'll ever get bought out. Let's put it this way:
No.
Capcom has now made a lot more money than recent in the most recent years, mostly due to Monster Hunter series like actually like popping off, and Resident Evil
Ba-
being so much better,
Mhm. Bandai
and
Namco is also a good indication of that as well.
yeah,
And,
Bandai Namco just makes money in general. They do. I mean, they do a lot of stuff, and they make a lot of good
mhm.
money. Like, and Tekken is just one of them. Now, the only company that's
Yes.
up in the air right now is NRS.
Hmm.
What's going on your phone? Is it?
My phone has somebody who's supposed to be on this cast, but he's not here. Very funny. Should we invite him on, or should we save him for next time?
I'm willing to push this. I'm willing to push it. So he has to just tell me now. Just tell him to get on Discord right now.
Here.
And
Well, how much longer are we going to be on?
dude, we've been recording for like an hour 33.
I know it's an hour and a half. Do you want to keep going?
I mean, we can have like another
We could
topic.
keep talking.
I'm willing to.
Yeah, we could
I'm
keep
willing
talking.
to, dude.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's
You know
invite
what?
this
We should
man.
actually have Josh on this because it's just more of. It's funny enough because we smoothly transitioned into that fucking topic of like the different fighting games that we like.
Oh no, and I'm sorry for interrupting. No, it's just
I just saw your phone and I was just like,
oh no. Yeah, I know, right? Here. We're on Discord, good sir.
Yeah, get on Discord, dude, and then we're about to go into we're probably gonna go into most likely our final topic, but I'm willing to talk about something else on top of it.
He can't hear you. You're only coming in my headphones.
I will
1
try.
second. Hold up. This is funny. You're fine. What's up, bro? We're in the middle of something. Do you want to join in or do you want to not?
Something that you were supposed to be a part of like 2 hours ago.
We'd love to have you on.
One take.
Oh,
people.
calm down.
One take.
All right.
This is all in one take, okay? We're not.
Yeah,
we're not cutting this shit.
Let me get.
I'm not cutting this shit at all. I'm too like it's too far down.
Oh, it's live. We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. Fuck it.
It's fine. How do I?
Is he at his computer right now, or is he?
Oh yeah. So we're in a session that has all three of us
Go on.
invited.
Tell him to launch Discord and then just join the chat.
And then it should pop up, yeah, and you can just join it. You let me know. Yes.
So
He
I guess
will possibly pop in.
He will possibly pop in within the next probably like 5 minutes. But I guess but I'm definitely willing to make this a like last topic, but unless we got something else or he has something in he wants to talk about as well, I'm willing to extend this shit.
I think he just it was I don't know, he seemed caught off guard. So
yeah.
That's fine.
I mean, I just got his text for why he got caught off guard, which we won't talk about here, unless he does.
But yeah, what were we? Sorry.
So, I guess it was to talk about fucking.
What were we talking?
Street Fighter. So, some of the fighting games that we've played, and I'm like I'm big on that. Like I'm really big on fighting games. I'm even talking about the independent ones too, like Skullgirls, Them's Fighting Herds. Those games are, I mean, it's always good to see like independent fighting games, like really fleshed out, like really good ones, like really good, and to find for them to get the spotlight finally after like, especially with Skullgirls, because that game did not have a main big tournament appearance for like 10 plus years. Just to give you an idea of like how old, well, not 10 plus, but it's definitely like almost 10 years, give or take. But it's awesome to see games like that get the spotlight. But as far as like the big fighting games, when you have games like Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat / Injustice, and we may as well throw a fourth now with Arc Sys, because they have Dragon Ball Fighters, they had Guilty Gear.
That is true.
It's like, it is cool to see now we have a big four of, or like almost like the Mount Rushmore of fighting games getting appearances, like finally. And it's awesome to see.
No, for sure. Or just new installments for sure.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball. Excuse me. Dragon Ball. It sounded like I was 80 years old there for a second.
Dragon Ball.
Yes, that here.
How long? How long is it gonna be until we get a voice mod pack where what's it called? We have Team 4-Star. Like a voice mod. Come on, man! It's on PC already.
I could do that. I don't need a mod.
Trevor, there's a stream idea for you. We're gonna go into Dragon Ball Fighters in some random ass lobbies, and you're gonna be doing Team 4-Star talk. What up, Josh?
Yes. We'll see. Make sure that your
Josh, we don't hear your mic.
Input is on.
Check your mic input. See because we just see you staring at us into our souls. Wait, say
Excuse
something,
me.
Josh.
Damn.
All
There
right,
you
cool,
are.
awesome. We're already an hour 38.
Into this damn thing. We've been
We're
talking for
well.
an
To
hour
be
and
fair, Trev and
38
I
minutes.
basically had like what felt like an hour-long talk of fucking Marvel and DC.
Oh, thank God I came in on time.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're fine. You're good. Hi.
Where is?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you very well.
Okay. What are
Good.
you looking for? Are you looking for a background?
Yeah.
Okay, go into your settings. Go in, yeah.
Bottom left
Go into
settings,
user settings.
and then
Go
it's
to voice and video and voice.
I believe so, something like that.
Yeah.
Josh is
Yeah, and
gonna,
then scroll to the bottom. You should
and
have
then
some
you'll see
options.
like some of the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Josh is gonna pick the one that you have Trev watch.
Is this?
Well, while he's choosing that,
Why?
I think
Eyes. Ow.
just to finish up on our little thing, Jeremy. I think that these games are giving a healthy helping for a lot of fighter game people. You know, for
Like
a
a
lot of
lot
side
of the
scrollers and
FGC.
whatnot. Yeah, that too. Yeah, and it's just I feel like you're gonna have your people who gravitate towards one or the other. So. I know that you are a Street Fighter guy through and
You know
through.
you know what's actually kind of funny? That's not even true. I'm not really.
No? Wait.
Look,
Okay, wait.
Okay, so I love. Don't get me wrong. Street Fighter is an awesome franchise, but for me to like for a fighting game that I like truly like, that's pretty much Mortal Kombat. That was the first series of games that at least like MK9 onward is when I really started to get into fighting games.
Is it because of the NRS gameplay, or is it because
it's ease of access? It's the easiest.
Okay.
Out of the three, like if I were to rank the all the fighting games, like from the least difficult to the most difficult, NRS games in general are very easy to play because they are more like they are not as like tight as like Japanese fighting games. There's a lot more like buffer windows in between. Like you literally could do a move that's literally just back forward, and I have literally like a second. Versus like a Street Fighter or a Tekken game, if you want to do any cool moves, it has to be precise within milliseconds. And sometimes that doesn't even work, depending on like whatever you're using, or you miss the input. Like you literally miss your diagonal input.
Right. It's less forgiving?
Way less forgiving. You actually could get punished for just doing something stupid. Versus like, well, even like Mortal Kombat is the same story, but the only difference is that there's definitely more of a mind game factor to Mortal Kombat games, because a lot of combos can lead to, or pretty much like you do one combo, you can like lose like 50% health.
Hey, I know another game like that. Tekken. Sorry, Tekken to me is what those games bring out in other people, like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, but in a more. I don't know, it helps that it's more 3D. I think it is side scroller, but it's a bit more like you're feeling like you're in the space instead of it's like against a background. You know what I mean?
So my personal issue with like, see, the thing about 3D fighters for me personally is like it just feels weird. It's just movement. It's let alone like, don't get me wrong, Tekken does feel really good in terms of movement. And shit, yeah. I'm actually more surprised that you guys don't even like. I mean, it's cool that you guys like Tekken. I'm more surprised that you guys don't play like Virtua Fighter.
It's funny, right? Tekken came from Owen, right? Owen was really into playing it, and he would play it constantly, and
then he introduced Josh you guys to it.
Exactly, yeah. So it was just it was one of those things where we saw it through the eyes of our friend, and then that would be our only reference point. Because then anything after that, we just compare it to Tekken, which is unfair because a lot of games and a lot of fighter games have their unique personalities. And you can even say the same for Virtua Fighter, you know? I mean, so It is unfair, but like, yeah, I
I
gravitate
think
more towards Tekken.
the one thing I will say about Virtua Fighter, and this is just like from someone who has heard of the franchise but isn't familiar with it necessarily, is that it just feels
Mhm.
it's very straightforward in its combat, and it's like there's nothing super flashy about it. It's purely like whatever style that we know of, like in terms of fighting styles, there's a character for it. That's it. Versus like Tekken, it feels like there's so many different styles. Even like fucking anime fighting characters like Lars, for example, or a cyborg that has chainsaws for arms, Elisa. Um, bro, you got two
Or just a
fucking
bear.
bears. You got two
Yeah.
fucking bears that are in the game.
Dude, those bears are from the extensive Tekken lore, all right? I'm gonna need you to have to respect these bears, right?
Hey, just a reminder,
because they both know Mishima style
like combat
fighting. Go ahead.
And
Yes, go ahead.
and just a reminder, we haven't even there's even more animal fighting characters in the Tekken series.
Yeah. There's a kangaroo. There's a lizard. There's
T-Rex
a tome.
or a
There's a T-Rex.
Velociraptor.
No, that
whatever
was
the fuck it
lizard.
is.
My bad. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. It was a Velociraptor.
A Velociraptor, but they both have the same fighting style where they fight with boxing gloves.
It's Mishima's it's funny. It's hilarious, dog.
You know what's gonna be funny
also,
is in Tekken 8 they decide to add him. Fuck it, why not?
Oh my god. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they put in. I think they are putting in an older character. I forgot who though. It was like someone from Tekken 3 or 4. It might be one of the. I know that. I think it was.
Is it a Kazama?
I could be mistaken. No, Jack 7 had a skin.
Jack
that was
been a legacy character
of another character.
Well, Jack has been a legacy character. That's a thing.
Well, he as a skin. He had another legacy character as a skin. It was this like tree tome thing. I forgot the name of him.
Mokujin?
Thank you. Well,
Mokujin. Well, here's the funny thing about Mokujin is the fact that Mokujin is a mimic character, and Mokujin just plays like any other character. There is no unique style to them.
Yes. Yeah. They actually had a couple of mimic characters that I think they might be bringing back. Maybe one or two, but for the most part, I think it's going to be the core cast.
I mean, what we have as far as like a confirmed roster we have right now, we only have Kazuya, Jin, Jack, Paul, Law, King,
Lars,
yeah,
probably.
Lee. You mean Law?
No.
Wait, so Kazuya. Jin.
Law is martial law.
No, Lars. There's
no, that's Lars. That's Lars. There's Lars, Law, and Lee.
Well, we don't know if Lee is even in the game yet.
He should be in the narrative. He was tied to it. So if they have,
I mean, they probably just haven't announced him yet. I mean, we're probably going to be a while for another Tekken announcement. I think they've only just done gameplay, and that's really it.
Possibly.
Meanwhile,
Josh, is everything okay? You're kind of.
You have been quiet.
He's this background.
Oh, he's like
he's
enamored in the backgrounds right now, and he's getting pixelated.
So you go to user settings.
Yeah, I'm in this drop down menu, this black menu, dark menu.
This voice and video, right?
It's voice and video, and then scroll down. You could pick a background.
Wait, Josh, are you in voice and video?
Yeah, I'm in voice video.
Scroll down. It should be right underneath the camera. It should be under video background. It should give you a bunch of little presets.
I don't have that.
You don't have that.
Are you sure about that?
Voice settings, video settings.
Scroll down. Scroll further down.
Advanced. Then all I have is noise suppression, automatic gain control, and then I have reset voice setting. Nothing else.
Okay, you went too far. It's right before advanced. It's literally in video settings. It should say video background. It should give you a bunch of different things. Is it not?
Oh, preview video.
It should have been right under that.
Not that. Always preview video. No, that's fine. You're not seeing any of these options.
And no.
Okay.
That's weird.
I guess since Josh has been just like focused on that, like Josh, I guess like is there anything you want to contribute to like I guess like the topic that we had?
Well, it was last about Tekken, right? What about it?
So just like how so basically like the general like idea like why do I personally prefer Mortal Kombat like NRS style games while you two have mostly been enamored with Tekken. And I guess like
NRS again?
NRS is on Mortal Kombat and Injustice.
NetherRealm Studios. It's the people who actually make the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I like.
I guess what would be your comparison?
It's like Batman games too.
Well, we're talking about actual fighting games. We're not talking about
just
like
the fighting games. I would say compared to Injustice for you and Tekken, what are some good things you like about either or bad things?
Yeah, I like the simplicity of the fact that there's a limited menu with this in terms of fight catalog. But it just makes the thought process even faster. So there's a limited amount of like there's like these moves. So make the best out of them. Whereas Tekken's got the bigger catalog, and you can kind of get lost within like different rhythms.
I'm sure there's yeah.
So yeah.
So I guess like the interesting thing is like that's what my personal issue is like holy fuck is Tekken overwhelming in terms of its moves because it's like I'm sure like outside of King, a third of the move list is probably useless. Probably.
I don't know if I would say that, but
okay, and just keep it now. Hear me out. The only reason I say that is because like even NRS has some characters that don't even have a fucking move list that like is useful or is so limiting, and it's like in terms of MK,
like
okay,
in MK11.
Okay, so if we're going off the most recent iteration, Mortal Kombat 11, Sub-Zero has probably like one of the smallest movesets I've seen in a fucking character, but he does so much damage because he has so many outside factors that helps him get the damage. A lot of his crushing blows are very simple, so they do like a good chunk of damage, or they're very practical. Now you have characters like Rain, who are very tight-knit characters, but the more you learn, or actually, Rain's not even a good example. Fucking Fujin. Fujin is a character that requires a lot of learning and precise like movement, and if you can master that, you basically have a 1% character. You have the one.
So, I guess. Wait. Okay. So, Josh, when you say you like the more streamlined experience for combos in Injustice a bit more so than Tekken, I will say each, in my experience, for Injustice, each. Like, yeah, they are limited in their combos, but it is how you use those in relation to your environment and in relation to, like, there are other factors, like you were saying, Jeremy, like, to capitalize on those combos, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I personally like Tekken better, is because you have that huge variety, you can pick and choose your own playstyle without having to change your character. You can stay the same character, but play completely different, you know?
Like, they have so much...
I like Injustice more for the fact that your environment could also attribute to that.
Yeah, those are the other factors.
Yeah, the all the interactables and stuff like that. Like, and I'm actually like surprised too. Like the thing that actually surprises me too about because like even Mortal Kombat X and 11 took that aspect from Injustice. I was actually more surprised that they were not as game breaking as I thought they were going to be. They're not. You honestly don't really think about it, which is the funny part.
I mean, that's a good game design then, because
that's just good game design.
Yeah. If it doesn't feel like it's breaking continuity or breaking the world that and
it doesn't break the match. And the good thing too is that like from match to match basis, it doesn't really break it that much.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like in some ways it's almost like how like if you consider the Smash Bros like scene where they always play like 2 fucking stages, whether it's the Animal Crossing one or they play the general like map, like the 3 platforms, like the 3 platforms right here and then
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one
yeah,
like right
yeah.
up there.
What is
Like
it? That's not Omega, is it?
Omega is like
Like
flat.
the style. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Or like Omega, like the flat style stages too. Like the fact that they play where their environment can kind of affect the game more. For NRS, it doesn't really feel like it does. Like it's just more of it's there. And then
Like the environment itself doesn't change.
the environment does not really affect a match as much. Now, if we switch it over to Tekken, because I do notice that issue, that sort of same thing too, where like I guess like certain stages, like because how small the arena can be, that can sort of affect it. And then I know sometimes like if you I guess do certain combos and then you fall through the ground and then you could just keep continuing a combo. It is interesting.
Yeah. I would say that it's represented, but in different ways. Like, I feel like on a scale, Smash has the most interactability with its stages. Then it goes then it goes NRS. Then it goes Tekken. Because while there is a lot you could do in the Tekken stages, especially for certain of them, it's not guaranteed for every single stage. Which you could say across the other games, but the variety is different. Like you have the least amount of interactable stages in Tekken. Whereas where it's a bit more in NRS, and then Smash. I mean, Smash.
Smash is Smash. Like even if you watch, like I said, even if you watch it competitively, it's like you can tell
what's that one? What Mute City is always on our list whenever we play Smash, and how many of us die because we keep falling off the damn cars? Like,
I thought it was Big Blue.
Oh, Big Blue too, but like
there are multiple arenas
they're the same dynamic.
Like where you have like constant moving environment and you are literally fighting the stage while fighting people.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot less of that in Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Yeah, it's a balance.
But and then I guess like, and then even like, and I guess that's what makes like Street Fighter like the most like toned in terms of like environments. It's more of just the background just looks crazy. After that, it's just you versus the other person.
Yeah. Which I guess is a visual distraction and a visual challenge, but at the same time, it's like, once you get used to it, you're like, all right, now it's just happening about focus.
Yeah, it's like, it's definitely one of those, like, it's the first time you see it, and then, like, if you want to be like, oh, there's this character from this series, there's that character from that game, and then and I really hate, like, the thing I don't like about Street Fighter, like, competitively, like, at least from 4 and 5, is that people play nothing but the training stage, and it is the dullest fucking thing to look at. I get the idea, and because there's also a sort of a gameplay, it's gameplay reason too, because because there's less shit moving on the screen, there's less like frame drops for like certain moves. So that's kind of like a reason for like some stages to be like a sort of a game changer in other games. But for Street Fighter, that's the only game changer, is the fact that there's, if you look into frame data.
Yeah.
But I'll say it has the most like fun. It's definitely like the most. The thing I liked about Street Fighter is, even though it is a tight knit game, like for it being Japanese, it's still like you could still kind of learn it easily. I definitely think it's like, it's probably the best, in my opinion. As much as I praise Mortal Kombat for being a good stepping stone for fighting games, I feel like Street Fighter is where you really learn how you could play.
What was that, Josh?
I was gonna say, I'm like, damn, taking your taking MK a step down, are we?
Well,
I mean,
let's put it this way. Like, yes, it depends on what Mortal Kombat is, because all three are very different from each other. Well, 9 and X are sort of the same.
Would you say that you like MK because it's more culty?
No, I just think they're much better games in general. I just feel like Injustice is okay.
Wait. Yeah, if we're talking about culty games, we got to look at some of the offbeaten third-party fighter games. We can't. We got. We gotta.
You missed. I mean, I mentioned one earlier. Fucking Skullgirls and
That's
Them's
right.
Fighting Herds. They're independent fighting games that are really good.
See, and that's the thing. Yes, these IPs are original and unique, and they are engaging. All right,
and they use a formula that is very good, being the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise.
I swear.
I think only because. Oh man, wait, how long? Oh my god, wait, actually, wait. Now that I have both of you, I want to circle back around, Jeremy, if you allow me. Actually, do you have any last points on this?
I guess, and unfortunately, we did not mention like a single fucking thing about Arxis, but that's more of a thing between me and you, Trev. Because like, well, at least, well, for me, I've played more Arxis games. I'm pretty sure compared to both of you. You've played Dragon Ball.
I mean, I have.
What Arxis is?
I mean, I have, but like, it's a company.
I mean, like, I've played Guilty Gear Strive. I've played Dragon Ball Fighters. I've played DNF Duel. I barely played Grand Blue Fantasy. I don't know how to feel about that.
I like the cell shading there. I think their art department is really good.
I think they're the anime fighting game company for a reason.
Yeah.
Then I'm just waiting for them to fucking announce like either one of two things. A Demon Slayer fighting game, like a real one, or they have a bunch of or they make their version of Jump Force, which is like an actual fighting game with different anime IPs that they can use in a Marvel vs. Capcom style. No, I'm not saying don't remake Jump Force, but make Jump Force, do what the idea of Jump Force, but make it an actual fighting game, not that whole 3D arena thing.
You want a Marvel vs. Capcom, but with anime characters.
I want that, basically.
Yeah.
So what Dragon Ball Fighters did, but put it with other different anime IPs.
I'm down. Hey, I'll tell you what. They'd probably well, they actually already did. So I tell you what, I'm down for that. The only problem is the reason why I think Jump Force didn't work is because each of these characters have such huge power scaling and power in their own universes.
Just pick
that if
one.
You really
just pick a point.
But think about it. They have a whole now website dedicated and channel dedicated to Death Battle, which was a whole idea off of all these IPs coming together for a death battle. You know, who would win a firefight to the death? That was the whole appeal to that. So I feel like that would be part of the appeal of this little pitch that you're doing is you have all these great IPs, all these anime characters that are powered up and have all these wonderful arcs and stories. Why don't we put them against each other? At that point, you would have to get the fighting-centric... Nice. Get the fighting-centric animes. Wait, you good, bro?
Yeah, I sent Jeremy something. Look, this is what I'm freaking looking at. There's no change your background or anything.
All right. Well,
I'm using a
figure it out
flashlight
off of this podcast.
Well, we can always do for next time we could always figure it out. So, but yeah. I mean, we were just messing with this shit. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm gonna fucking keep this background. We're just messing with shit.
I'll tell you what. If you find a way to do it, we'll do it.
But yeah, like I understand what you're saying, Trev. There's a lot of stuff that they can take from the material themselves, but you can only do so. But then at that point, if you're gonna really try to capture as much as fucking possible, that development time is gonna be hell. That's gonna be 10 plus years. Because think about it. As silly as Dragon Ball Fighters is for having 4 versions of fucking Goku. Come on, you can't tell me you can't tell me that they can do the same thing in this game. They'll just pick the ones.
Dog, they have 5. I think they have Kid Goku.
They have 5.
They have Base Goku. They have Super Saiyan Goku. That's 3. They have Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Then they have Goku Black. Then they have
they have UI Goku as well.
They have UI Goku. They have Super Saiyan 4 from GT Goku. They have no, actually no, they don't. They have Gogeta. They have they have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Never mind. But yeah, they have basically 5 freaking things of Kakarot. And then watch, they're gonna put Turles in there. They're gonna put oh wait, no, Turles
Get
was...
obscure. Just get. Imagine they just put
No, I know.
launch. Imagine they just put launch
You know what I
for
want?
some fucking reason.
You know who I want? I want Launch. I want PyCon in there. I want fucking well, Janema's already in there.
He's already in it.
I want to play as a Kai, but not Zamasu. I want to play as an actual Kai. Like, let me play as.
When do we get to play Mr. Popo?
And the Popo.
No, he's a genie. He's a Jin.
No,
Mr.
actually,
Popo
you know what?
is a
You know
Jin.
what's the biggest crime of Dragon Ball FighterZ right now?
What?
Where's Mr. Satan? Where's Hercule?
Dude, okay.
I don't fucking care.
Listen.
Make him broken as shit. Pull a Glock out.
No, they can't do that. They can't fucking do that. They can't. If they're gonna do that, they might as well put Shaggy from freaking Scooby Doo in there as a
That's crossing an IP. That doesn't count.
Hey, multiverses can. No, I'm just kidding. They're all.
Multiverses is probably gonna die like in the next 2 months because it's not. It's player.
What I say.
The franchise was. It was a good idea. Just unfortunately, it couldn't maintain it because the roster was just not that interesting.
Forever be the brawl game.
I just didn't like that the roster. There was no easy way to unlock it. Like, you had to like. Not only play the game, but you had to like have the currency to unlock people, and then it would change. It would literally change where like what you unlocked was only available.
So the thing is that it actually is kind of easy to get that currency. It's just if you gotta play it consistently, which unfortunately, if I try to play it now, I'm just gonna get.
Look, I would say if it came out back when Smash was a thing, yeah, I would have taken a lot of sale out of it, so probably wouldn't have made a big of a splash. But like, I don't know. I feel like with the splash with the Smash IP, they've had so many at this point where by the time Wii U came around, the user interface was streamlined, the customability was streamlined. It was all welcome. It was just on not a really successful system. So when Switch came around and Smash Ultimate, they were like, all right. Definitive Smash, bam. Now any other fighter game, you gotta love that gameplay and just the gameplay of it. And like, you gotta love it so much that you gotta come back and get all that in-game currency. Otherwise, to me, it just felt like I should be playing Smash. They're great, but the characters and movesets weren't as interesting. It just felt like I was playing...
It was just kind of like... The thing about Multiverses was that it was just like... Again, like I said, it was a neat concept. I did appreciate that they made an attempt at it. It's just unfortunately the roster is as interesting as they are. It's just not as compelling. I think that was the key issue. It's not a compelling roster if you think about it.
I'd actually argue the same for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. Like,
well, Nickelodeon is a completely different issue. It was just the fact that the game was full price at the beginning, or it is a full price game when it should have just been free. They could have done it.
I don't why they could have, but I don't know if they made it free. Then it would have turned into a live service with microtransactions.
Dude, Multiverses did that.
Exactly, which is why I don't like it.
But the other thing too is that it didn't get any of the cool shit, or like it didn't get any quality of life stuff until like essentially 2 years after its life.
Yeah.
And he's gone. Well,
I was trying to actually switch the conversation over to the music video at one point, but
maybe we might have to save that for the next episode.
That might, yeah, maybe. I don't know what happened there.
What? Did he text anything?
Something fell down in the house. Hold up.
Oh, there he is. Oh, there you go. Now he has a background. Let's go.
Wait. Did you need to update it? Was that the thing? Did you need to update Discord?
We don't even hear you. Don't you have a mic that you can use?
I do have a mic.
Okay.
But I'm not going to use that monster of a mic.
Why? Why? I'm using a fucking mic right now.
Well,
We're
Except
we're both
mine
using mics right now.
can capture the entire house.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense.
That
Totally
is
understandable.
true.
Okay,
You need to get a Yeti.
or he needs to get a,
Well,
you need to get a
condense
XLR.
it. Well,
then
it's a
condense
condenser
it.
mic,
What
so
are you
I
doing?
can't do stuff on it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trev, you said you wanted to circle back to something with this man.
Oh, okay. Well, now that he's back on, we wanted to we touched bases upon this earlier, Josh, but
This was like at the top of the
it would've-
episode.
but we wanted to stop because you're heavily involved in it, seeing as you're the one who shot it. We were talking about there you go. We were talking about the music video, My Place. We were talking about-
yes, my God. See, look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Majority of those sessions, I just let my creativity go wild.
and that's what Jeremy.
Even this guy that's right here, present in front of all of you guys, was version of that guy was not there. I was like, whoa, 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 the whole entire time. And Jeremy will tell you, nothing was planned. Nothing was
not
planned.
a single thing was planned. We just sort of we literally did guerrilla filming on that whole episode. And I was like, okay, we're gonna start at this point. We're gonna shoot this shot at this road, and then we were gonna just basically kind of build it up from that point on.
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier, just because we were talking about specific topics that we wanted to bring up, and I knew that I wanted to just say that is my favorite music video that we've done so far, even up to this point. Even though we've tried different things and we've utilized different ideas in other music videos, that one is to me the most clear-cut, cohesive, and just satisfying, but almost in a melancholy way, because it really does tell a narrative that is so simple and yet so powerful, something that a lot of people can relate to. And the fact that it happened on the fly, the fact that it was guerrilla style making, that is impressive. And that kind of showed me what we could do.
Very loosely. I don't even know if that's actually what it is, but yeah.
But what it felt just genuine. It didn't feel like there was a special gimmick to it. It didn't feel like I was watching it for anything specific. It felt like I was watching somebody in their own space. Literally. Like, and I think that speaks volumes as to what, you and I, Josh, try to do with, we try to depict people in their own spaces. We tried to do that in a couple other videos. We tried to do that with Weightless. We tried to do that with Headspace. We want to catch people in their, at least for that video, that was like that. And
that's what eventually, like again, I said this is just a series. What I wanted to highlight was the value, though.
Yeah, it's funny because by doing that, you gave yourself a natural background that fit a narrative greater than what you were trying to accomplish. It kind of just fell right into your lap. And that's, as the consumer, it looks like well, I mean, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like this was planned. You're there for a reason, and that's because this homie used to live at this house in this neighborhood. And you kind of don't get that until the end, where you're like, oh, he's looking at this house. Maybe some people might infer he knows some person, he lives there. He knows this. Knowing the fact that, but it's that fact right there. No, it's that fact that changes it all, because that really gives you the perspective of this is an introspective story, as opposed to this is a story of somebody pining over somebody else, whether it be a lost friendship or anything else. It's more, and it really does set the tone of what I think we're trying to accomplish in terms of our visual medium. We want to depict these little instances of people, real life people, in their headspace, in their zone, in their own time. There's no one else there. It's just him. It's just you, Jeremy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's more powerful that way because you're the only thing that the viewer can graft onto for an experience. So having it that simple but that powerful, having it mean that much, even if it is just, I used to live there, that comes with a whole slew of emotions that people are going to naturally put their own shit on. So I was so impressed when I saw that, and to know that it happened like so free form, that's crazy.
It really was a fun day.
Yeah, because I think I remember, if I was remembering this correctly, Josh, weren't we gonna originally just do a bike ride around that area? I don't, it's been so long since we like
I don't
talked about it too.
remember.
It's
Okay,
been
so
that
like
see, it's been that long because when did we film that?
because
Literally peak COVID, essentially.
the one time where I get like a natural opinion, and I'm just like, this was
Sorry.
this was a
Oh,
good
you're good.
what is it called? Trev, you good?
I'm good. Continue, please.
His
Okay.
camera's off. So.
What I was saying was, I don't remember if
Like,
it was.
because I think from what I remembered, it was like originally we were thinking of doing something that day, and then we just changed our minds and we were just like, okay, let's just go film something, and hopefully we could do that again. I mean, I just obviously we got to work on each other's times, you know. Like I originally was thinking because the photo with the three of us, I was originally gonna have that as a video, but we changed. I mean, it essentially became like photo shoots of sorts. We had good shots.
That was nice. That
I
was
think it's
unique. I
important.
thought
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Yeah, it was
that was very unique when we all went to freaking.
just around
It
your
was
place.
my hood, and then we all just made a freaking
Photo shoot.
video shoot out of it. Initially, I didn't think we were gonna travel that much.
You're the one
Yeah,
who came
7
up with
miles
the.
was
You're the one who came up
quite
with the
a bit.
idea of going all over the neighborhood while you were about to be fucking Fred Flintstone.
That was so last minute. That was so like, okay,
But
you know
okay,
what? Fuck it, we're gonna
alright,
do it
yes,
anyway.
it was- Listen, it was last minute, but you had such decisive action that we thought it was all a part of the plan. So that we were like, all right, we're gonna trust you, and you were like, great, let's go.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I calculated with my head. I'm like, wow, this neighborhood is actually smaller than I think. I just need to zoom out.
Look,
There you go.
it is in terms of distance, but that makes up for an incline and decline.
Yeah,
bro.
definitely.
Excuse me?
Yeah, but
Ooh.
yeah, it was fun to do that project. Like, and I remember
I didn't
like,
even know what was really happening. Sorry, go ahead.
it was a really fun project to do. Oh my god, Josh disappeared because of the smoke.
You turned into a
was
ghost.
so sick.
You turned into Casper for a second.
Casper the friendly ghost over here.
Listen. Well, Casper the lit ghost.
The lit ghost.
The smoky ghost. The smoky ghost.
Well, what's it called? Yeah, it was that project was so much fun to do, man. Like, and I think I remember
Look,
Josh and I were considering doing like almost like a sequel to the series, but this was before I was living at the other place until I moved out here.
Like,
You know what? I have an idea, Josh. Live on this podcast, I have this idea. All right, I'm get Jeremy into a week Subway video idea.
Okay.
To which way?
The Subway. You remember we had that idea of
Yeah, I've wanted all some way somehow all 5 of us are connected to that one journey story.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
We'll let
Subway.
you in. We'll talk about it after the podcast, but like it's an interesting idea.
That'll be a post. Yeah, that's gonna be a after recording kind of discussion.
Basically, a whole day where the whole,
Anyway,
I say gorilla, but I'm gonna look that up right now.
Yeah,
there you go. And while he does,
I think, Josh, is there anything that's been on your mind that you wanted to bring to us, or?
What have you guys talked about besides video games?
Well, we mostly have talked about Ant-Man. We talked about some of Hogwarts Legacy. We just talked about the Street Fighter.
I had no idea. Quinn worked on that. Sorry, shout out to Quinn and Cameron.
Oh yeah.
We worked on Ant-Man.
That's kind of cool, actually.
What?
Wow.
On which one?
I don't know which one. I think it's
most likely the most recent one. Most likely the most recent one. Like the one that released. The one that released today. If we're dating ourselves on this podcast.
All we know, right now is February 17th, and who knows how long this will take for me to really edit it.
Like, ew, I'm such a young, lack of confidence man.
Wait, Jeremy, wasn't that... No, I had the mushroom one.
You had the mushroom one. Josh has the cityscape, and I have this little, square, basically.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to pick a different one real quick, right before...
Do
Because how long have we been streaming? Well, not streaming. How long is this
Oh.
podcast?
This recording has been going on for about 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of time. Hey,
This is
that's
a long one.
Trev. Just to let you know, we were able to accomplish it about an hour and a half with just the two of us.
Do you think? Very true. Do you think we need to like?
Guerrilla filmmaking refers
Oh,
to a
okay.
form of independent filmmaking characterized by ultra-low micro budgets, skeleton crews, and limited props using whatever resources, locations, and equipment is available.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's
that's very much guerrilla filmmaking.
so. Does that constitute what?
It's so weird to say that I hate looking at my reflection in the bathroom. What is it? I wouldn't mind being just the guy who points and shoots, but strategically pointing and shooting.
Mm-hmm. But still,
Well, that's
within
what I'm
like our
saying.
resources too. On top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
We'll describe more about that after, I think, because I actually have an idea to pitch this to Jeremy, and I want to get him on
I was
board.
gonna say, like, I was gonna start a conversation since you wanted to.
I mean, if
So,
you want to
like,
add
okay.
anything else, and we can figure out a way to close out this podcast.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, it's exactly what I do. I could be in a limited. Yeah. Can limit me to one space. I can give you. I can make a script out of it. It's limit me to two people. I can make a script out of it. It's very much like that. It'll teach you. Like, there you go. I guess why I'm so in love with this is it kind of shattered my concept of what theater would have been leaving high school. I thought, okay, everyone's gonna have a legitimate theater with an apron, with wings, with the backstage, with oh no, oh no, it's not true at all. So I actually ended up liking in school. I just learned that the whole concept of less is more is just that much better. Like using what you have around you. This can go with cooking too. You feel me? Like using your environment. Blah, you get the best stuff. But you know what I mean? It's yeah. I'm really drawn towards this. It's simple. It's you can tell the deepest stories. What's cool about the one that Jeremy was a part of was, again, I didn't have any of this planned, but yet you guys are forming your own stories in your brain. You feel me? It's the whole
literal like
reason behind my moniker.
Yeah, and I mean, like in my video, it was essentially just like a trip down memory lane, essentially.
Yeah, God, you had such a that must have been very interesting for you to film.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know how that felt. That was a unique experience for you because I essentially gave you the role of the actor, but you didn't act.
Well, because the role was him.
Yeah, it was just me. It was a personal journey.
At that point, and I think that's why,
and that's probably like why it's like your favorite one.
Oh no. I was thinking about like biopics and how well, if the person's still alive, why don't you just get them to be in the movie? It's like no. That's not the reason why this is. Also, most of the time they aren't alive, or they're just retired or too old or whatever.
Yeah. Or
when I did background, they got a lot of real nurses and real doctors to play the actual parts.
Well, the extras.
Yeah,
or
extras.
That's the thing. Where they want control for lines and dialogue, they won't go for the experience. They'll go for the control. So
I just want to be all right. What do they do? I'm like, oh, you'll never see somebody doing that. And I'm like, well, at some point they'll just talk to themselves and just here's money.
It just tells me like how impressive it can be when you see somebody who is not depicting themselves, but who is trained in what the character is trained in. How much more obviously authentic it is. Like, you can say that for not only for medical positions and political positions, but also a skateboarder. If the actor knows how to skateboard, that's perfect. He can play a skateboarder because he knows the ticks, he knows the tells, he's part of the culture. it's all, but like to an extent of how you would label yourself a skateboarder. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, I feel like that's just like that for a lot of different things. I don't know how do we get on this
The subject of guerrilla filmmaking.
Yes.
It's like I said, yes, the whole less is more quality is the main reason. I brought up school, you know what I mean? Like there you go. Knowing that like I got into once I got into college, it was these things called black boxes. I wasn't so familiar with them.
Yeah.
I'd seen a show or two in a few, but it was such a loose term to me. I didn't know much about it. So I was like, oh, okay. Again, such a sheltered, individual. I only saw like one cool theatrical show growing up, and that was Lion King at the fucking Pantages, but too young to interpret. So it's like, all right, well, so just my, and then yeah, and every single school that I went to had like a proper stage, but leaving like the real world to a film world around here, I thought, okay, how does this work? How does that work? It's like, okay, there's bigger equations for all these bigger major motion pictures to be done. God, I wonder how someone, who has such notoriety can practice their craft with no money. So it's like, okay, well, how does that happen? Well, it's usually with point and shoot things. It's using what you have. You can even create a whole story with just pictures. You don't even need to.
Yeah. It's kind of like those, like, you know what it makes me think of? The ones that, like, you draw something in, like,
storyboards.
The storyboards, or the ones that, like, in the little notebooks, and then you're just kind of, like, flipping through the page, like, really fast. Like, something like that.
Flip books. Yeah, those are staples of animation, for sure. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because, like, I guess, like, if I could just, like, classify, like, too, because, like, even I wasn't, like, I mean, I've already told this story, like, to death, like, so many times, but I've never had, like, any experience with, like, any of, like, that acting stuff. Whether it was theatrical or not. Like, because I even told, our high school director, too, I was like, dude, I don't have a lick of experience of, like, all that stuff. I literally just learned it, like, through just everything I've watched and games I've played.
I'm gonna let you in on something, because I remember back then I probably was going around saying I had experience because I wanted to appear like I had experience. I really did not. I had what was basically a weird complex that just was like, hey, I'm from an artist I'm family of artists, and my mom did this. It's in my blood. So I had this, albeit kind of placebo confidence that actually kind of worked. Where I thought, okay, I know this, I know that, and I just covered my bases well. I'm gonna be honest, there was a lot I didn't know either. even in high school, even when doing a bunch of community theater, like all of that, that's at one level that I've experienced with one particular group. It's always going to be different. And so I'd say for what you started, or what your quote unquote like lack of theater knowledge, you actually grasped onto a lot. Like, I saw you grow as an actor, like third person on, because my mom would always like talk to me about like notes that she would have for you guys, and then I would never tell you because it's not my place to tell you, and
exactly,
get these notes eventually anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So like, but I remember hearing my mom going like, he started a little rocky, but he's getting it. He's getting the blocking. He's understanding
the
flow of things. He's getting the beats going. Exactly. And I'm like, yes, which is why I was so excited to like direct you to even an extent. And I kind of want to do it now. And that's why I keep saying it. So I'm really down for this idea of whatever. And if Josh wants to write the script, if you got some dialogue and some story beats in mind, bro, let's go for it, bro.
This is definitely a project I would definitely like really consider. You just have to, obviously we have to just work within our means and our times, of course. And
it makes me want to I don't know, I feel like this is a conversation for afterwards as well.
This is kind of a, I guess I mean, if this does become fruition, then you know what? This is essentially a tease for a project. But this is
We'll
only if
see.
it becomes something of
We'll see.
fruition.
We'll see. Yeah.
But I've been meaning to try like. It's more like things in motion. Like I want more clips with things in motion. I don't want to stay static. I've been staying static. I want a mixture of the two because there are certain scenes that I had filmed that I thought, wow, the only way I'm ever going to reproduce this is if I have the trust of two other individuals. And
Look, next time.
I just don't have that. It's usually one, or if I'm in a group, it's usually that's usually not what I'm doing. You feel me? It's like, oh, the setting of in a group is not my goal right now. It's we're just chilling, we're having a party. You know what I mean? But it's almost like, all right, cool. I got to get this organized. But it's so weird because it's an environment that thrives without a map.
I mean,
so it's like, all right, fuck it. It's the challenge. But yeah, like I said, I've been wanting to continue these videos that I have, but I almost don't want to do the same thing. Like I don't want to. I want every video. Like I want every video to be kind of different. Like I don't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and if it's gonna repeat, yeah, like I said, it's gonna have to be different. But at the same time, it's like there's another side of me that says, all right, no repetitive subjects. So
like repetitive subjects or like
wait. That sounds like the same thing to me though. That doesn't sound like opposites.
So yeah, it's like no, I'd rather.
Like you want to, I think I have an idea of what you're trying to say. Like you want to do one thing for one video, and then you want to do another thing for another video. So you want to have variety.
You don't want it to have it have the same structure.
Does that sound right?
Since the beginning, I wanted it to be, God, what's that word? Oh my God, dude.
I don't know. Oh my!
Like up in the air. It's not grounded in a reality. It's. I don't want it. I want it to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's not tangible, but you know what I mean. It's. Oh my God.
Oof! I actually don't know what you mean.
I'm like trying to figure it out. And it's like I'm drawing blanks.
Not conspicuous. What's the word? It's. Oh my God! Kill me. Look, I don't like I said, these stories I didn't plan them. You feel me? So it's like I made whatever
spontaneous?
I thought. See what?
Spontaneous?
Spontaneous?
No, not spontaneous. Like if the subject of the work is not direct. It's
indirect?
You know what I mean? Not indirect. It's
It's
this is gonna bother us.
Yeah.
It's that oh my God.
This is gonna be the segment where the boys try to figure out the word. And it's gonna be a vocab nightmare.
It's gonna be
word, alright, kill me.
It's gonna be what?
I wanted the subject of the series to be, you were right, you said it earlier, like us in our environment, but there was no real theme in how the story, how these videos tie together. Like they just don't. And I didn't want to continue more of us in that series, meaning episode 2 of me, episode 2 of you, episode 2 of Jeremy. Then I would have to continue the series, the story, and so it's like, you know, leave those shorts.
But why? I don't see why that's a bad thing.
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather leave what I have in its own, just for its own single
why
episode.
Not continue it?
I would just continue the series with other people. I would not continue the series with people that I've done already.
Is that like a creative choice?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds about all right.
Why? Is
like,
it?
is it open-ended?
Is
Is that what you're trying to
wait,
think?
wait. Is there a stance against continuity?
There's just more planning to be done.
Well, that's not a bad thing, though.
So wait, I think I
It's
get
just
I think I'm
tracking what you've done.
okay. So
right?
let me see if I'm getting this like
That's what I'm
correctly.
saying. I don't want to track it. Let's do something new.
So let me see if I can get this straight. Like, so basically, like when you want to film something, you want to just do. It's just one thing. It's just one story, and it's done. You don't want to think further ahead. Is that what it essentially is?
Just for this black and white series. I'm not saying like
He wants
yo,
it to
this
be
is
self-contained per video.
Okay.
Right?
It's oh my god, it's that word. What is it? It's oh my god. It's not direct. It is a
Indirect?
version of indirect. It's synonymous with indirect, but it's not direct. Oh my god.
This is gonna piss me off.
Ambiguous. There you
Oh,
go.
ambiguous. Okay.
There you
There's
go.
there's probably some irony there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not just one. It could be multiple. Jeremy said he was like it was directly to there. I wanted to just have fun with the geometry of photography. That's what was driving me that day. Was like, okay, I'm gonna get him as a little speck going from here to there, and I'm gonna be way over here, and I'm gonna be like a little freaking idiot in the middle of a freaking neighborhood, just like, all right, action. You know what I mean? It was literally me and him all fucking day.
That was fun.
But I wasn't like, I was thinking like, okay, it was like what is it? I was thinking in my head, you have A and you have B, but throughout that whole day, it was like, okay, where's B gonna end? You know what I mean? And finally, we got to your house, and I said, "Is there anything else?" I mean, I got you going to the car, you traveling. I have more than 10 minutes footage at this point. So
Yeah, we had like a decent amount of footage. There was plenty cut.
here's the fucked up part. I actually don't know if maybe it's a mixture of both. I can't remember if I planned the song I was going to shoot first,
or the video.
or what did we just shoot to fucking shoot? You feel me? Like that just changes the whole narrative of how we shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I don't remember. I legitimately don't remember if I said this is for this song, specifically for this song called My Place. Because remember you said we had something else planned.
I'm certain that we had something else planned and then we just randomly changed it. And I'm pretty sure
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, that just tells me that I did not have My Place, my song in the video.
Yeah.
Like in mind for the video.
It's just
so
it just
like,
happened to work. Like that's the best way I think we could describe it as. Like it just worked.
Like the more I've spent thinking about like, all right, we do this, we do that, we do that. The only time where I ever had difficulty was like, all right, I want multiple locations, and you have to be free, otherwise I'm not going to get you in those locations. You feel me?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like
which is again, it's just like we have to just work within our means. You know, we can't always go to wherever we want.
Well, that amazes me actually, because that's kind of crazy how well it fits. And it fits really freaking well.
Again, it fit like way too perfectly.
So there's something that's not being quantified here. There's something here that's not being noticed. I don't know. Something that's in plain sight that we're just like, we recognize that it's good, but I can't tell you why.
It's like an internal kind of thing.
Yeah, think about that for a second.
Yeah,
I resonate with that with a lot of my work. I'm like, why is this? Even I can't figure this out. Like this works so well.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's something that we're not seeing. There's an unseen element that's there that we're noticing. We can't see.
It's still black and white.
I mean, that's definitely part of it, but like, no, it's the song itself. Like, because if you listen to that song,
I might have to
You're
watch that
put on
video
one.
again, dog.
Yes,
I
watch it
also
again.
say to myself, yo, again, I made this shit, so it's you guys. It's like, okay, what do I find more entertaining? And I can't give you like a whole like. It's like the video fits the music, and the music fits the video.
Yeah.
Like they complement each other. So it's just difficult to even decipher now, unless I write it in a journal. Okay, I decided on this day that I'm going to select this song, and from here on out, my direction's going to go just for this song. I thought about it. There's only one time where I ever tried to think about it. Really, Trevor was there for that, and that was for Waitlist. That was my video.
Yeah. Yeah, though that was an interesting experience. I will say excuse me. I will say for Waitlist, is actually seeing that kind of process be done. A lot of it was out of order. Like we did it in a sequence based off of where we were, and we were like, okay, this is a good shot. We're gonna have you, and I think the only reason why last time we went out we didn't get much video is because we didn't commit ourselves in our heads to get video. That was the only difference. Is literally sliding it from picture to video. We would have had video for future music video. So like that's how easy and accessible this has become. So I think we just need a good shot location, and we need to take in as artists. We just need to take in the environment and see what the truth of whatever we're feeling in that moment is, and play to that. And that's all it needs to be. Like if you are on some shit, use it. Use it. Fuck it. Use it.
Yeah,
That just
exactly.
it's because it's real. And then and we're not writing a script right now. There is no lines for that. That's why I think it works so well, is because it doesn't have any dialogue, and you can infer, and it lets the music speak for itself. I think that's why we for at least for the music videos, we wanted to keep that. I wanted to at least keep that style, but maybe the structure does need to change. Like you can't have every single video feel and operate the same. Otherwise, it's not gonna breathe. It's not gonna stand on its own. Like if we did another My Place, it would have to be with a song, or the song itself would have to evoke the exact same feelings as My Place, and we have a few of those. We have, and I know we do.
Is this a
And
secret
it's
song that we don't know about?
I remember. I remember now. It's actually coming back to me. It was in the editing process. I thought, what song would go right with this footage?
And then that's when
And
you.
it was that one.
So it was just having a good
This worked.
backlog. It's actually
It's
Yeah.
see. I know for. I can't remember what was this decision. What the decision was for One for Nothing with Owen.
Which, by the way, he needs to get on this shit. I swear. Like,
You know what I mean? Like it was so weird to me, because I said, all right, homie needs to be in one of them, and I said, all right, well, the only way I can get this is to get him where he's at, because he's very much all right. I'm here tomorrow. I'm here this day. I'm here the day after. So I was like, all right, well. All right. Well, I'm gonna. All right. Well, it is what it is. I'm gonna have to make it work. It was a hike. What else? We did. There you go. That was one of my favorite sequences ever.
when you guys were doing that whole hike thing.
We did a hike, and this is what I meant by like I need two other individuals. What's it called? We did a car shot with Trevor in the back of my car seat with the window down so that he could have stability with my phone, and I was adjacent to Owen, and he was driving his car. That's how we got that shot. There's a few shots where I discovered like, yo, I just saved so much money on what
I'd like
Hollywood
to-
can like.
I like to point out that there
Yeah,
were
that's
no
crazy.
other cars parked on the other side of the street. Because this was a cul-de-sac street. This was like the end of a street. And we were coming down and not going fast, but there were two cars driving side by side down a street. It looked like some shit. And you saw one dude like holding a phone out the window, like with no phone case, by the way, because this man still does not have a phone case on his damn phone. And just holding it as we're driving. I was like, if I drop this, the whole day is ruined.
Yeah, really risky shit right there, dude.
Oh, for sure. So,
Man, like those are still up. I still have them shits.
yeah,
Those are up.
yeah, those are on his Insta. Check out Reggie Mine's Instagram.
Yeah,
All the reels, they're all on there.
Check it all over.
RDYRND.
I guess
Oh,
that's a
for
way
sure.
for. Is that a way to close out the episode, boys?
We've been how long is this day? This is almost 3 hours, bro.
Like 3 hours.
2
And I came in
hours
as the
and
bonus.
44 minutes. This is the longest episode.
This is crazy long, dude. But this is
This
great.
was long, but we talked about a lot.
44 something.
Huh?
I came in for the last 44 minutes or something.
About the last probably like roughly hour or so, give or take.
Yeah.
But
too bad.
yeah,
I mean,
I guess that's
we have.
Is that
Sorry, go.
way to close out the episode?
This
Yep.
was fire.
Yeah, this was fun. This the first video format of the podcast, and we have our longest episode up to date. So
do you think we'll
5?
keep doing it on Discord?
I mean, I guess that's gonna be the way because apparently,
Honestly, looks fun. I just want to know if I could change my own background.
I think that is probably gonna be something
to,
we're gonna check after we're done.
Yeah.
recording this.
We'll check.
But
out.
I guess
Like,
so.
God.
Just to close it out, guys. Where can everyone find you guys?
At RDYRMND.
Mr. Read Your Mind.
Yes,
Read
and then
Ready Mind, Ready Raymond, whatever you want, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, one of those.
Pretty
two.
Raymond. Oh my god. And then you can find me at PJ_Dino, also known as Symbio Drift. Yeah, us as well on Instagram as well. So.
Yep. And thank you guys for watching or listening to this podcast. I am Zero Requiem 14. You can follow me on Instagram of the same name. Keep up, and you can be up to date with the upcoming live streams. Hopefully, I will have some more streams coming up soon with the Elgato setup. If it doesn't make me lose my fucking mind, but we shall see when that time comes. But other than that, thank you guys for listening to the podcast, and we will see you for Off the Top episode 6 whenever that happens.